Welcome everyone to Comics from the Multiverse, episode 515. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Matt.
Hey, what's up?
This is the DC Comics podcast. We get together, read the books. We talk about the books we read this week, if I could speak properly. Coming up on this week's show, so this is a weird week because we're doing mostly books from 2 weeks ago because we had to skip a week, but it's a week 5 and there was almost no books this week, so that kind of worked out. But we have a couple of books from this week. We have Detective Comics 2026 Annual. I read that. I'll talk about that. Matt read Superman.
You madman.
It's still a Tom Taylor Detective Comics issue. I'm still going to read it. Matt read Superman, the year 1000 annual, whatever stupid name that had. And then from 2 weeks ago, we'll be talking about Absolute Flash issue 17, Absolute Green Arrow issue 3, Superman Unlimited 15, Wonder Woman 35, Nightwing 140, Batwoman issue 5, Deathstroke the Terminator issue 5, and Dark Knights of Steel Dark Knights of Steel 2 issue 1. Plus, Patreon books, we'll both be talking about Green Arrow issue 29, and I'll be talking about The Last God issue 4. So, nice other packed week of books coming up today, as well as October Solicits, which actually dropped right as we were finishing the show last week, but we'd already been recorded for like 3.5 hours, so neither of us wanted to sit and do another 40 minutes of Solicits, so we'll get caught up in that this week as well. So, nice, big, hefty amount of stuff. And which book did I decide not to read? We'll find out later, but
oh no. Oh no.
that always puts fear into Matt. I always like it does. I always like doing it.
I hate doing them by myself unless it's like Ivy, which I'm used to. You know? Like
oh dear. Anyway, we'll get to all that in just a bit. But start off, Matt, how was your week?
Very busy. For my job, we're in a crunch time, end of summer type stuff. And it has been hotter than hell. Like, temperatures after the sun sets are still in the triple digits. So it has been absolutely hellscape, miserable. And then I realized this morning, I had my ceiling fan going the wrong way all summer. We never shut it off, so it's in winter mode. And I shut it off. I got a new tool to clean it, right, to dust it. So I'm looking at him like, that's on the wrong side. All that dust is on the wrong side. Did I forget to flip it for the summer? And I did. So instant relief. We've been sitting down there like not sweating, but it's been a little bit warmer than we would like when we're sitting there watching TV in the evening. And now I know why. Foolish me. So, yeah.
So is it extracting air in the winter? Is that the idea?
So basically what you're doing in the winter is you have it going clockwise and it pulls the air up and then it spreads it up against the ceiling, right? In the summertime, you want it going counterclockwise, so it pushes the air down, right? And so I had it for the hottest months, right? For the hottest months of the year, it was pulling the air up. The already warm air, because it's, already
so it was extracting instead of instead of being an intake fan, it was look, I know computer terms, and this is how you talk about fans and computers. You have intakes and you have extraction fans. So some fans blow cool air in, some extract the hot air out. So it sounds like you flip it between those two modes, and you had it on the wrong one all summer. That's funny.
Yep. And so immediately, I flipped the switch. I clean the things off, and I'm like, tell my wife, I go, I think it's on the wrong switch. Let's turn it on. And immediately I get off of the ladder, turn the ceiling fan on, and it's immediate. Just the cooling effect is within seconds. So silly me, But I guess still, when it's triple digits outside and it's 78 inside, it's still preferable. I understand some people are going through much worse than me. But yeah, I'm glad it's fixed now. So when I get done with this, I'm going to go plop down on the couch and enjoy the cool air while I can.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I've had a tumultuous week for movie reviews. I had to watch Lee Cronin's The Mummy this week, which was dreadful. I had to do it.
I saw you gave it 1 star.
I had to watch an Extra Reels movie, which was particularly painful. Now, they're always bad. That's the point of that show, is we're doing bad movies. But Club Lingerie was especially torturous. And then also, even one that I was hoping I'd like for Ace ended up not being that great, which was Iron Lung. So it's been a tumultuous week. I've watched a lot of bad movies, and I'm not thrilled about it. But hey, it is what it is. No, I've still been putting the new PC through its paces. That's basically what I've been doing in my free time. But I mean, all on that, nice enough.
We watched the Robert Pattinson and Zendaya movie, what's it called, The Drama.
Yes.
Which, if you have a chance, give that a watch, Pete. There are some.
It's on the to-do list.
Laughs.
Yeah, the trailer was pretty good when it was coming out. I just never got around to seeing it at the time, but I believe it's on the to-do list for a stream watch at some point. So
Ash wasn't a big fan of it. I was sitting there cackling at some of the, darker humor elements that pop up throughout.
But
and
what was funny to me is you said the Robert Pattinson Zendaya movie, and I wanted to jump in and say, what you mean, the Odyssey?
Yes, I know.
And the reason why I say that is because when I went to see the Odyssey, I got a trailer for Spider-Man, which had Tom Holland and Zendaya in it. I got a trailer for Dune Part 3, which has Zendaya in it. And then something else, I can't remember what the other thing was. And then the movie I saw was the Odyssey, which had Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Robert Pattinson all in it. And I'm like, these three actors are doing musical chairs around every movie in Hollywood right now. I feel like I cannot go to the movies without getting a trailer with at least one of them in it. Possibly all three of them sometimes. So yeah, it's just amusing to me how all over the place they are right now. But
well, and you kind of forget that they're in the Odyssey together because their characters don't share any screen time. Like their two characters don't have to do.
They're very separate.
So you tend to forget, but we're watching, and I went, oh, we just saw them on the big screen. Last week. So.
Yeah, it seems to keep happening. Everyone's rotating around with the same handful of... Well, particularly in their age group. They're all kind of the 30 to... Well, Pattinson's late 30s now, but they're all kind of in that bracket, and they're just kind of rotating around. Although Tom Holland's eternally just going to play someone who's like 23, apparently, just because he doesn't look old.
No, not at all, because we got... we went through the MCU Spider-Man movies to prep for the new one.
And he must have been about at least 20 when he did that first one in 2016.
And he's playing younger, but you would never guess, because it's only at the beginning, it's only a couple years, but by the time the last one dropped, which was 5 years, coming up on 5 years, which, the pandemic and lockdown really put a time compression thing on, because that did not feel like almost 5 years ago.
I don't know. I feel like everyone says that, but I also feel like everyone always feels time get faster as they age. So I think part of it is just all of us going, we've just hit that point where time's moving a lot faster, and we're kind of attributing it to the pandemic. And I don't know if it's actually as true as everyone thinks it is.
No, maybe. It was one of those things that I was like, oh yeah, that Spider-Man came out like 2 years ago. And when I went to input it into Letterboxd and it had the year next to it, I was like, wait, 2021? What? No way. So
he first was Spider-Man in 2016, so it's been literally a decade. So he has to at least be 30 now. So
he's a little bit younger than my brother, so he's about 30, 31. My brother's 32. So he was playing just a little bit older than he was supposed to be, but he still looks like a baby. Like he's aging pretty well as far as that goes. Because some people, as soon as they cross 25, man, they get them city miles.
Well, I he's one of these guys who I don't think can grow facial hair, so he just looks like a baby for at least for a while. I mean, I'm sure it'll hit him at some point, but at least so far he still looks really young. So that's where we're at. I mean, I guess we'll get into things. We got a lot to talk about, so we will get into the Kindle rankings, formerly known as the Comicsology Top 10. Now, obviously, this is for this week, not most of the books we're going to talk about today, but it is a week 5, so not that many books out, which is why we would have taken this week off had we done all the week these books at the time and just sort of done whatever this week had next week. But we're here, which means we've done a couple of them. So Matt, you want to make a guess as to what you think the top ranking DC book is?
So I'm guessing it's not going to be, there's no absolute books. But there is a new Marvel. Well, that's a number 1. I don't think that's an event. So let me skim through these real quick. Shoot. I'll guess X-Men 34.
That's an interesting answer to the question. Do you want to guess what the top ranking DC book is?
I went through that. Top ranking DC. Yeah, we'll go. It's Batman. We'll go Detective Comics.
That is incorrect.
Really?
No,
Superman.
No, you forget the World's Finest does quite well digitally.
That's right.
Yeah, so the World's Finest annual is the actual number 1. Number 2 is Detective Comics. Number 3 is Monstrous, which is an image book. Number 4 is Justice League Night Vision. And then number 5 is the Superman Year 1000 annual. So that's 4 out of the top 5 are DC, which is very good for a week 5. It also means that that's the end of DC books, because that's pretty much all they brought out, except from that Hot Girl Summer Anthology book, which is down at 15. But just to round out the top 10, number 6 is Geiger, number 7 is X-Men, 8 is Thunder the Barbarian, number 9 is Jughead, was that Pie-mageddon? Had to just check what that word was. And then number 10 is Feral, which is an image book, which I've never heard of, but fair play. So yeah, it's always a weird week 5. Sometimes Marvel do put out a lot of books, but even they don't seem to have put out that many this week. So yeah, just a bit of a weirder list than usual. Like you said, no absolute books, no Batman like mainline books, so a little bit tougher to predict in some ways. But there you go. That is the rankings. And we can get into the solicitations then for October. So obviously a lot of the stuff we talked about last week from the Comic-Con news will probably be popping up in here as well, but we'll go through, we'll see if anything else is in here for a surprise or two. Maybe comment on a couple of covers if they're worth mentioning. So top of the list here for October is Legion of Superheroes issue 2. So they're starting off with a real low point here to make us all really sad, so that everything else will make us feel better as things go on. Is my only assumption.
There's a preview of this in the Superman book that I read this week, and the Hayden Sherman art in the future looks really good. So I'm getting a little bit more hopeful.
I'm sure it does, but David was actually telling me about something that he laughed at in that special, and it sounded horrendous.
Pete, just wait till I talk about it. I can't wait to look at your face as I'm explaining all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Legion of Superheroes issue 2. Then we got DC All-In Saga, Darkseid versus the World, which is Williamson and Snyder writing this. So yeah, this is sort of leading into the next chunk of like mainline DC stuff for the next while. So yeah,
there's skinny Darkseid on that cover, and it makes me very unsettled. I do not like skinny Darkseid.
Yeah, but there's a Pariah variant of just Darkseid standing there in the dark, and it looks gorgeous. Yeah. So
yes,
there's good stuff to be had there. Then we got some of the new stuff. We got the Demon issue 1 from James Harren here, solicited. Doing both the writing and the art. We have Jonah Hex and the Shadow of Death issue 1 from Michael Walsh, which also again we talked about a little bit last week. And then the other stuff here, we got issue 2 of the Doom Patrol. So again, it's always weird when these books of like we're past the issue 1 solicit, but we're not at the point where the book's actually out, so we can't really say anything else about it yet. But hey, that's coming, so be excited. Similarly, we got Teen Titans issue 2. Which I'm actively not excited for, if I'm honest, but hey, I'll try issue 1. That's all I can promise you.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, Shoes is in there, which is hopeful, but it's also Jason Todd, and I'm not a fan of that artist. So it's working. It's got some stuff working against it.
It does for sure. Lobo issue 8 is up next. Then we got the Dead Man issue 5 with a very interesting cover. It makes Swamp Thing's face, but out of a bunch of cables, which is interesting. Not enough to make me want to read more of it, but still curious all the same. We got Deathstroke, the Terminator, issue 8. Barbara Gordon Breakout, issue 6.
Ooh.
Which, interesting. Doesn't sound like it's the final issue, so that's cool.
So it even says in the solicits, welcomes new inmates and new enemies. So
doesn't sound like it's wrapping up in the next couple either. It sounds like it's maybe at least going to 12 based on that. Actually, someone told me this week something had been extended from 6 to 9 issues, and I can't remember what book it was now. I think it was Breakout. Maybe it was another book.
Was it Absolute Green Arrow?
That might be it. Yeah, maybe it's Absolute Green Arrow. But either way, yeah. Fury of Firestorm issue 7 is next with a gorgeous cover of just a hand coming out of, like, I don't know, matter and flames or whatever. I don't even know what you call that.
Ashes.
Yeah. It's good stuff, though. Then Zatanna issue 7. So, yeah, it's all these next level books they're doing back to back here. And now we're out of the Absolute books, which is Absolute Wonder Woman issue 25. Is it just me, or is the cheetah on this cover, it has the head of what I would... It's almost like a demented Disney villain, is how I'd describe how that face looks on the cheetah.
Did you see the design features that they premiered at Comic-Con that Sherman was on the panel for?
I don't think so.
So if you go ahead and if you look at Cheetah's face and you flip it going the other way, there's a mouth on the back of the head, and that's Barbara. That's her face.
Oh, I can kind of see the mouth now that you're saying it, yeah.
Yeah, and so the design is like the cheetah has wrapped itself around Barbara Ann's body, and it's contorted it. So we're getting some like Cronenbergian body horror out of the cheetah.
There's definitely fleshy bits there. There's like patches of like flesh and muscle. Yeah, that's interesting. There we go. Absolute Batman issue 25. The solicit text for this one just says, all the villains, all the heroes, all the stakes, what's left of Absolute Batman. So they're being very vague there as to what it's actually going to be doing, but it sounds like a big issue for 25. So which is a big milestone, to be fair. Like 25 into the Absolute books is kind of a big deal. It's got a 3-part Dragota cover. I don't know if that's a wraparound or 3 separate covers, but it's a big connecting image.
Yeah. There was supposed to be, for all the 25s, there's supposed to be a gatefold that is for Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman, the Absolute books. So I wonder if this is a piece of that one.
I don't know. Well, because it's all, you can see all 3 parts here, and they're all Dragota. So I don't know if that's what this is. Anyway, Absolute Superman issue 24 up next. So Steel's got a new outfit based on that cover. So that's interesting. And would you believe it? It's bulkier. Something in the Absolute universe is bigger than it usually is. I'm shocked. I'm shocked at that. There we go. Absolute Flash issue 20. With what seems to be Absolute Atom being a main feature of.
And another bit from Comic-Con is Lemire has said, Absolute Ray Palmer is a great scientist, but a terrible human. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out.
Okay. Absolute Green Lantern issue 19. So, yeah, cool. Absolute Catwoman issue 4. After that, we have some laser dodging going on, a la Entrapment, although no one under the age of 32 is going to know what the movie Entrapment is. It's not worth seeing. The only reason why you'd want to see it is to see Catherine Zeta-Jones doing lots of flexible things, but yeah, that's about it. Then we got Absolute Green Arrow issue 6. 6 more issues it's getting. Oh, look at that.
There we go.
So it's getting up to 12. So yeah, okay, cool. People seem to be liking it. It's got a cool cover, this one, actually. But
Grundy on there, the bloody swords.
Yeah. I'm just keeping quiet because I don't want to say anything about this week's issue, which heavily ties into that. We got Batman Bad Seed, Streets of Gotham issue 1, so another book here that's kind of harkening back to an old Bat book. Streets of Gotham, of course, was a Dani book around the time of Morrison's Batman and Robin series. So yeah, this has got stories by Tamaki in it and Matt Fraction, amongst others, I assume, because it says 6 street-level tales of fear, courage, and perseverance, starring everyday people who must learn what it means to be a hero. So this is obviously knocking on from the Gotham General and Gotham Central one-shots, where this is going to be, or I should say one-shots, miniseries, I should say, which is like another aspect of Gotham from a different perspective. So that's cool. I wasn't expecting any more of these Bad Seeds tie-ins, but I mean, this one might be a one-shot because it's a $6 book and it's like a story anthology. So I expect this will be a one and done. But it's kind of a cool harkening back, if nothing else.
And that goes in with what Fraction's been doing in the pages of Batman, where he's making Batman more accessible to the people. And so seeing that from their perspective, it will be a nice, little breakup of whatever Bad Seeds is. So
yeah, and obviously Fraction and Tamaki are names I'm not displeased at seeing on the creator list. Also, I'm checking on one of these covers here because I wanted to see it. The EOM variant, however you say that, is a gorgeous cover of like the Gotham City billboard just covered in vines and stuff. It looks really nice, really horrific. So that's cool. Then we got Batman Bad Seeds Gotham Central issue 2, which of course we expected, with Christopher Cantwell and Jacob Phillips, and then following up that is Bad Seeds Gotham General issue 2, which is Greg Rucka and Rosa Ekedal. So yeah, more of that is good stuff. Which leads us into the rest of the Bat books. We got Batman issue 14 with a cool Mr. Freeze cover, dare I say. Really pops there. Reminds me a lot of I think it's like the cover for the animated movie Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero it's making me think of.
Okay, I can see that.
But yeah, it's making me think of that. And then Poison Ivy issue 49. Harley Quinn 67. Oh my god, I'm mad at the description for Harley Quinn 67.
Don't say it.
My eye just caught it. Let's just say they're emphasizing the combination of the numbers that are in the number 67 because the youths have ruined numbers for everyone.
And just like all olds, they're about 6 months behind.
Yes. It feels like we've stopped hearing about it, and now there's Harley Quinn jokes about 6'7". Oh, god damn it. Detective Comics 1114. Also got Mr. Free stuff going on there, which obviously these are all tied into the same story, so I guess that'll be some through lines. And then we got Batwoman issue 8, with what looks like a SWAT team looking for Batwoman in the tunnels of Paris, where are they right now? Or was it Italy they're in? I can't remember.
No, so it says the Cathedral of Saint Dumas, so they must be coming to Gotham.
Oh, fair enough. Makes sense. Catwoman 92 is there, which they're calling Lone Cat and Cub, which is funny to me. I appreciate that. We got Batgirl issue 24. So yep, and this is the end of the Bad Seeds epic, apparently, going by the solicit text here. Wow. So that is cool. And that also has a cool cover, actually. Then we got Nightwing 143. And yeah, more Dan Waters goodness here. So again, it looks like a very horror focused cover, even though this is not Cowan on the art anymore, because I assume that arc is now ended that we're currently on. Yeah. But yeah, cover's very promising all the same. And then we got Batman Bad Seeds Sunrise issue 1, which is G. Willow Wilson and Matt Fraction. Maybe a bit of an epilogue, I assume, or the finale, perhaps, to the main story. But that's there to wrap up. So cool. And then we got Wonder Woman issue 38. Tom King and Daniel Sampere, of course. Yeah, so and unsurprisingly, Sampere drew a fantastic cover because you've got Nubia in the background as Wonder Woman and the matriarch are duking it out on the front. All right, Superman, the Wedding Album 30th Anniversary Special issue 1. Celebrating the wedding anniversary of DC's most famous couple, 30 years ago, Man of Steel married the incomparable Lois Lane. Blah, 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 blah. Join the team behind the historical one-shot for with some exciting new additions for an unforgettable celebration. So this is mostly a reprint, am I right in thinking that?
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, okay. Right, we can ignore it then. That's fine.
Yeah, because it says join the team behind the historical one-shot along with some exciting new additions.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Superman 43. Giandomenico joins Williamson. Man of Steel is back. And his own book. I guess I'm going to have to read it.
You're going to read it for the Giandomenico art?
Yeah. Yeah. We got Marilyn Moonlight on the cover, so I guess we remembered she exists. That's nice.
Finally.
Yeah. We got Superman Unlimited issue 18. Who is that? Was that just Tomorrow Man on the cover?
Yep, that is Tomorrow Man with his new, faceless mask.
But the color scheme has changed, or at the very least, it's a bit darker. But the emblem's glowing, so it took me a second to process that's what I was looking at. And your begins. Superman and Sun take flight. Look up in the sky. It's two birds. It's two planes. It's Superman and Tomorrow Man. So Tomorrow Man's sticking around as a name, is it? We're keeping that, are we?
I hate it.
We're keeping Tomorrow Man as a thing. I mean, to be fair, it was confusing having both of them just called Superman. And let's face it, because one is Clark and the other one is not Clark, we always just took Clark as the actual Superman, so John would always get the shaft in comparison. It makes sense to give him his own name. However, Tomorrow Man kind of sucks. So, hey.
Yeah, it's one of those things that sometimes I wish like Lucha Libre naming conventions would apply to other things, because why can't he just be Son of Superman or Superman Jr.? Right? Like, that makes it so much easier.
Yeah. Super teen?
Yeah. Super adolescent?
I don't know. Anyway, so, I mean, hey, I'm nice that, we're past this current arc, and this is obviously coming out of the other side of the crossover event, so it'll be nice to see what Slott's got planned for after that. But, yeah. I mean, honestly, I think if you took the mask away, if you left the actual outfit with the kind of the bat logo sort of incorporated into the super suit, I think that would be fine on its own. I think this mask, while it's better than the all face mask that he had, I still don't think he needs a mask. I still think that's unnecessary.
No, like, I don't know, give him a Kyle Rayner style crab mask. Without the I don't like the half cowl that goes up around his hair. Like, that's always just a weird look to me.
Yeah.
Like, that worked with Kid Flash, not with most other people. But, like, if they wanted to give him a non-domino mask, something more akin to the crab mask, that's fine.
It worked with Kid Flash when he was Kid Flash. I never liked it when they tried to put adult Wally in that type of mask.
No. It just doesn't work. It looks weird.
Yeah.
Proof veneer.
Yep. Supergirl issue 18. Sophie Campbell back to her own run as well, and we seem to be we've got white top Supergirl with blue skirt for and she just got a new outfit at the end of the last issue, and we've already went to something else, so I hate when they swap it out too often, like, unless there's a good reason for it. I feel like have some consistency, damn it. But that's going on. Action Comics 1103. Lex Luthor Year 1 begins. Oh my. So Mark Waid is still doing stories in the past, but he's pivoting over to Lex for a bit. I mean, that sounds neat. I actually kind of hope this is going to work. I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's been some thematic stuff set up in the Superboy stuff, but I would love, if you're calling it Year 1, I think it should operate as a standalone story. I think anyone should be able to pick up Lex Luthor Year 1 and get a full, not JSA or Year 1, where you wouldn't know who any of these characters are if you didn't already know the JSA. Yeah. Right? I hope it is fairly accessible and works as a good Year 1 story. But I'm intrigued by a Mark Waid Lex Luthor Year 1.
It definitely feels like that's why he did the whistle stop for Lex with young Superman in action. Going, is that Lex Luthor? I was friends in school with him. It's like, oh, well, that's because the Lex Luthor Year 1's coming. Yeah,
but he also did that with every main Superman thing. It's like, here's Supergirl. Here's his friendship with Batman. Here's his wife, Lois Lane. Here's his son from the... Like, he did everything.
I know, but it was the stop specifically on Lex Luthor that we just didn't need to do. That made it like, now.
Technically, that wasn't him, though. That was the Williamson part, I think, of that book.
Oh, was that part of Williamson?
Yeah.
No, I think that was part of Waid.
No, I think Williamson did the, once it went into, he's traveling through time and seeing everything, I think that was Williamson. I'm pretty sure Williamson got the credit for that section.
I I thought everything with Williamson came from when he gets pulled out of the time slip. When young Clark goes and gets him. That's where I thought the Williamson stuff started.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. Yeah, maybe I don't know what the exact divide happened. To be fair, yeah. But I remember at the end of that stuff where he's talking to adult Superman is where Williamson got his credit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
well, either way.
Later.
Either way. Oh geez, yeah. I'm sure you've got more to say on that from that stupid annual. All right, so yeah, Action Comics. Okay, Lex Luthor Year One sounds interesting. I'm down.
I love the cover. It gives them this air, right? Like if I had a, one image to summarize Lex Luthor, this is it, right here. He's got the business casual suit on. He's got a big chunk of kryptonite. There's like weird mechanical stuff behind him. So
there's also a Sook variant where he's opening his shirt like Superman, but it's the Lex like green armor suit underneath. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
Then we got Justice League Unlimited issue 24. So speaking of Mark Waid, that's going on. Then we got GSA 24, which I wish I cared. I wish I was into it, but sadly, after many tries and almost 20 issues, I just couldn't anymore. Justice League Dark Realm Special issue 1, written and art by Dan Mora. More Mora, they say. Not even just the art now.
I don't understand where he has the time. I really don't.
Yeah.
It's man.
Yeah, so this is like Zatanna, Shazam, some mystical characters.
Cadejos.
Is that the Bat Wolf thing?
That's the wolf thing, yeah. The only reason I could remember that is it's in the solicit text.
That's fair, yeah. I was never going to remember it. So yeah, it's a special one shot doing that stuff. And then we got Green Lantern issue 40. So
cover missing,
yep. Same with Green Lantern Core, which I think I've now dropped, so I guess I don't care too much. But yeah, the cover's not missing, or is missing there as well.
So as soon as by 40, we're going back to more focus on Hal, which I guess makes sense, but that's kind of a bummer.
And Green Lantern 40, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we got the Flash issue 38. Continuing Ryan North and Guidry's run. Again, really cool, nice, clean cover with Wally speeding on a bridge as there's an explosion in the distance.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Emperor Aquaman issue 22 is there. And I'm sad because you've got Maxine, Animal Man's daughter, on the cover and Swamp Thing, and I would love to be interested, but that Aquaman run just was not it. It was just not
now
it.
that Aquaman is part of the blue, we got to bring in the red and the green.
Makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we got New Titans issue 40. So that's going on. We got Batman Superman World's Finest issue 56. How many issues is this going to get? Like Mark Waid just going to... Is he getting to 100? Do you think he's getting to 100?
Yeah. I feel like this is in perpetuity. He's just getting to tell whatever he does.
It's just it's just a book that had like not a lot of direction and just felt like a lot of just I'm doing whatever I feel like kind of stuff. And I wish I like, there was obviously peaks where it was good, but like it got very tiring after a while, and it's just kind of wild to me that it's issue 56. It's who knows how long it's going to, even if it only gets to 70 or 80, it's going to be like at least 2 omnibus worth of issues. But I can't really recommend it all that much. So it's just weird. That said, though, for good Mark Waid stuff, we've got Batman and Robin Year 1 Dynamic Duels issue 3. So that means we're near issue 1 for this. We'll be getting that next month, and I'm excited by that because the first Batman and Robin Year 1 was excellent. Again, I'm still going to say, why not just call it Batman and Robin Year 2? But, I'm a broken record at this point.
There is a Brian Boland Clayface cover, which I'm sure is for, cross promotion with the movie.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It looks fantastic. It has nothing to do with, Year 2, if you will, but still, I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, but I mean, Clayface, even Matt Hagen specifically was heavily featured in the first one, so it makes sense to do a cover for this. Not that they need an excuse. You can do special variants for everything that have nothing to do with the contents of the issue. Speaking of Clayface, we got Clayface Celebrity Dirt issue 4, so that's continuing that mini. And then we got Dark Knights of Steel 2 issue 4. with Bane holding a Buster Sword on the cover, so that's interesting. We'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm assuming it's Bane anyway. It looks like a Bane head. So
yeah, and once I clicked on it, I was like, "How did he get Bane?" And then you click on it and you see it more clear. That is Bane's mask.
Yeah.
There.
Yep. Bane's mask and Absolute Wonder Woman sword. To be precise.
Not far off.
Then Superman Father of Time issue 6, which
Father of Tomorrow.
Oh, Father of Tomorrow, sorry. And that's, I assume, the final issue of that, but I don't actually know for sure. It doesn't say anywhere. But hey, we got Superman the Stranger issue 2. This is by Wes Craig. I don't remember what this is from last month.
This was the one like that's running off of the old rules of Superman. Of like Golden Age. He
Right. Okay. So issue 2 of that. Obviously, we'll try that when it starts. Bleeding Hearts issue 9. So we're out of the Vertigo stuff here. End of Life issue 9. 100 Bullets, the US of Anger issue 4. Black Tower, the Raven Conspiracy issue 3, which is one that we're obviously looking forward to starting because it's Ram V and Mike Perkins. Which, by the way, Ram V did tease on social media this week that he has written at least a script for a New Gods thing. So
yes,
so possibly a sequel to his New Gods book soon.
Yeah, and he had said that a lot of the chapter names that he has it broken up to come from, I want to say David Bowie songs.
Okay,
I can't remember. So he's definitely putting some thought into this, and I am so excited.
Yeah, so I assume another 12-issue New Gods book probably in the near future. Plus a Black Label book sounds good to me. Then we got some facsimile editions, which I will just skim past because I'm not going through all those. A lot, weird. There's also a Start Here Batman issue 1, which is the New 52 issue 1 of Batman, just kind of being reprinted, but it's not called a facsimile. It's like a cheap version of that issue. It's kind of weird though, because it's like, hey, you want to keep reading this? Go buy the trade that already has this issue in it. I don't know. It's like I get it and I don't at the same time.
They're also doing it with Dark Patterns, so I mean, sure.
Yeah, weird. And also the start of Rebirth, Tom King's series.
God.
And also Batman White Knight. So they're doing 4 different Batman issue 1s in this start here. I mean, do you know what it is? It's probably for Batman Day, right? Because Batman Day is in September.
Yeah, that makes sense.
These are probably the late solicits for September's Batman Day.
That makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. And then out of the collections, we got Absolute Flash, Volume 3, Mirror Master, hardcover and softcover. So that's cool. We got The Flash, Volume 6, The Speed Was Power, The Speed Was Joy. That's just softcover, that one. We got Aquaman, Volume 3, Empire of Stars, softcover, Harley Quinn, Volume 3, softcover. These are all the current runs, of course. Then we got Superman, Man of Tomorrow, DC Compact, Comic Adventures. This is Paul Dini, Scott McCloud collection. It's only 140 pages, but maybe that's all there is of this stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not super familiar with it. Similar vibe, actually. Batman, The Dark Knight, Compact Adventures. Kelly Puckett, who, of course, did the original Cassandra Cain Batgirl book, is one of the writers here, along with Martin Pascoe. So yeah, that's there as well. DC's Finest, Batman, The Curse of Crime Alley. Let's see, what's this collecting? This is Batman 307 to 324 and Detective 481 to 490. So that's hefty. That's almost omnibus size in terms of how much content's in there. But this is Len Wein, Dennis O'Neil. So this is, I mean, the exact era here, I might butcher this. I'm going to say Bronze Age, give or take, it looks like. You know, at least pre-crisis, I guess, is what I'm really saying.
Pre-crisis, so probably late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Because it says it's Batman 307 to 324, Tech 481 to 490,
it's a hefty,
Brave and the Bold 159.
It's a hefty chunk, though, of that era. So, relatively speaking, a cheap way of getting a bunch of that material physically. I mean, it's $40, but like it's a lot of issues for $40. DC's Finest, Western, Requiem for a Gunfighter. So I'm assuming this is Jonah Hex stuff. Also 640 something pages. This is Weird Western Tales 18 to 43 plus Jonah Hex 1 through 7. So yeah, if you're into that corner of DC, that's a pretty cool niche thing for them to be printing. We got Mr. Miracle DC Comic Compact Edition, so that's the Tom King series in the smaller format. I'm not like, I appreciate the compacts for being accessible. I'm not really a fan of smaller pages, so I would never really go for it myself, but
not especially for that book, because you really want that Garrett's art, right? Proper size.
Yeah. The only time I'd want a smaller page is if I actively don't like the art, and at that point we've got bigger problems than page size. Justice League Origin Compact Edition, so that's the start of the New 52 Justice League stuff. That's also just the first trade of that. Superman by Alan Moore Absolute Edition. I don't know if this is the first time this has had an Absolute Edition or not, but it's there. It's kind of a weird collection, actually, because obviously you've got Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow is the big thing, but you've got like another annual here. You've got a DC Comics Presents there. You know.
This is I remember reading the Superman by or maybe it was DC by Alan Moore, because that's where I finally had got to read the Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. And then also for The Man Who Has Everything, which is also included in here. So of
course, I mean, those are the big two Superman stories that he did.
Yeah.
And relevant to one of the books this week, actually. Well, you didn't read the book I'm talking about.
Oh, it's not? Oh, there's some things that well, you didn't read the book that I'm talking about either. There's some things in that other one.
Interesting. Wonder Woman Dead Earth Absolute Edition. Oh, interesting. Out of the Elseworlds or Black Label books they've done in the last few years, that's the one that getting the Absolute first. Interesting.
So now that I've become a huge Daniel Warren Johnson fan and not reading this at the time.
Oh.
Because I think this was when I was on my hiatus from the show when this popped up.
Oh,
so
sure.
I just missed it. I definitely need to go back and read this. But it's cool that it's got an Absolute.
Yeah, go get the $100 Absolute Edition and get the really big pages. These are even bigger than normal pages. These are bigger than deluxe pages. These are huge pages.
Right.
DC versus Vampires World War V Volume 2, so second half of that sequel series.
What has happened in this book that they're now facing down the dark side?
Oh, I have no idea, but
wow.
Yeah, I had no interest in finishing that one. Superman Shazam First Thunder, new printing. This is the Judd Winnick 4-issue miniseries, which I've never read, but I'm vaguely aware of it existing.
That was my introduction to Captain Marvel / Shazam. I remember collecting it as it came out.
Yeah. Then we got GSA Compendium Volume 2. This is the Johns era, although confusingly, like the 4 credits they put at the bottom here on League of Comic Geeks don't include Jeff Johns, so I got confused because I'm like, Brian Azzarello? What was happening?
Yeah.
But it is that era. It says GSA 26 to 51 and then a bunch of, the All-Stars miniseries and then a bunch of specials and one-shots and stuff like that. So, it's an omnibus size, but in soft cover, which I'm not really fond of, but if you want to read this material, is again, relatively speaking, a cheap way of getting the material because there's so many issues for $60. We got Batman Beyond the White Knight Deluxe Edition hardcover. So yep, deluxe version of that. And then wrapping up the collections, we got Teen Titans Together softcover, the Connecting Cover Edition. So this is one of the young adult graphic novels by Cami Garcia here getting reprinted. So cool. There you go. And notably, that last one doesn't have an actual release date. It just says TBD. So maybe they're floating that out early for some reason. But either way, that wraps up the solicits for October. Obviously, we already kind of learned what all the new stuff was last week from the Comic-Con news, but going through, interesting to see. A couple of those new Bad Seeds one-shots are interesting. I'm kind of sad, though, that the Gotham Central and Gotham General books are probably only 2 issues each because the event's over at that point, so they're probably not going to continue.
How long the event is.
So, yeah, it's a shame. Hopefully something spins out of that for the future, but hey, there you go. That is the October solicits, so we will get into the books. Did that sound good, Matt?
Yes, it does. I already drank mine, and it made me tired. I think I got too much caffeine today.
Dear.
The opposite effect.
Yeah, I may have went and got a beverage before we started the books, everyone, if that wasn't obvious. So, Detective Comics 2026 Annual, Issue 1, Tom Taylor writing, Nicola Scott on art. For the main story, anyway. So I'll get into it. And I read this, Matt did not. Matt saw Lobo and said, no, Bo.
No, Bo, I'm out.
But, you know, if I didn't read this, I literally wouldn't have read a single issue that actually came out this week, and that felt wrong. And I didn't want to read the Superman 1000 thing. I didn't really want to read the weird Justice League one that looked kind of meh. So I'll read the Tom Taylor one, even though Lobo's in it.
You didn't want to read a Joshua Williamson Lex Luthor Batman story?
No.
You know, so I'm looking at the League of Comic Geeks on here, and maybe I should have read this because there's a Dave Velgaz story in here.
Yes,
and I like him.
That's
he
the
wrote
backup,
Man Bat, and I quite like him. He's primarily an editor for Batman. Like they call him the encyclopedia when it comes to Batman. He's worked on the character for so long at DC, so it's cool when he gets a chance to be creative instead of just an editor. And yeah, I mean, I do have this. I did pick this up. I just didn't read it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, there's some interesting bits to this, right? So it starts off, Batman's having some tea, and he's basically quoting Alfred as he pours it. He's like, "Oh, we're pouring it in a cup, not a mug, with a little plate, because we're not animals." Like, that's something that Alfred used to say, because he was very passionate about his tea drinking, because he's stereotypically English, as you might say. But so this does have some hallmarks of these one-shot annuals that kind of bug me, which is that literally at the end of the first page, a swoosh happens and Lobo's shown up because he's here to collect a bounty on Batman. And like, we have to deal with that. And it's I always feel like some of these stories, it's like there's not a natural like beginning to it. It's just kind of like something shows up and the story starts, and it feels a little bit abrupt. I think comics can be guilty of this sometimes, where it just kind of feels like instead of like a natural beginning, and you know how I define what a natural beginning is, it's kind of tough to say. It's kind of, you know it when you see it, right? And this just kind of feels like, something showed up because it's time for a one shot, and that's basically it. What this actually is, though, is that Lobo ends up taking Batman to space because Batman says, "Hey, I'll pay you to help find out who actually murdered this king on this other planet." And they think it's Batman because a batarang was left in the victim's body, even though we all know Batman doesn't kill. And even if he did kill, why would he be killing this random king on this random planet? It makes no goddamn sense.
Right.
So,
I mean, the last time he went out into space, it was an off-world, right? And it wasn't even... He was in the far reaches. Past even Lobo's realm, I would say. So,
Batman makes Lobo swallow something in like the little scuffle that happens, and Lobo's like, "What did you just make me eat? What did the main man just swallow?" And Batman's like, "Oh, it's something I worked on with the atom. It's like something that bursts into a little like a bundle of miniature suns, and it'll burn you from the inside." See, here's the thing: I don't kill ever. But you can't be killed, so I have the unique, opportunity with you to not hold back. I can be as violent as I want with you, Lobo, and I don't have to feel bad about it. Is basically what he tells. And he basically says, "Hey, I've got this clicker here, and if I don't click it, I'll only read my thumb. The suns will keep just spawning, and you'll always be in pain. And the rhythm of the clicking changes as well, so you can't just steal my thumb." And I'm like, all right, this is a lot of explanations to get to this. Now, to be fair, I actually love something Taylor did here. It's revealed later in the issue. Batman is lying his ass off here. He basically reveals this is a garage door button. You didn't, like, all you swallowed was air freshener. Like, you didn't swallow any suns. He basically just bluffed his way into Lobo thinking that he'd be
Tom Taylor.
Yeah, in like immense pain if Batman didn't keep pressing this button. So I actually, like, in the moment I thought, this is absurd, everything he's describing. But when it turned out all to be a lie, I was like, you know what, that was funny. Fair play.
Yeah. I do love when Tom Taylor does stuff like that, where he's setting you up to be like, you're better than that at crafting a story, and then you get to the turn, and you're like, oh, of course, Batman would never do this. Like...
So, it's funny, though, because the thing that he's describing feels like something that Scott Snyder would actually write for real, which is the funny part of it. But anyway, they go to space, and there's like a president of this planet where the king was killed, and it's like, oh, is he the prime suspect? Let's go investigate the body. And there's basically like a turn here what the issue actually is. it's not really that much of an investigation. Yeah, this president dude did kill this alien king, but it's quickly revealed Batman checks the body, and it turns out the president, or the king, sorry, had a Black Mercy on it, right? It sees the wounds of a Black Mercy. And Lobo says, oh, that sounds like fun. I always wanted to try a Black Mercy. And Batman's like, no, you wouldn't, Lobo. Don't be an idiot. But the president shows up with a Black Mercy, and they get sideswiped. And smash cut, Batman is waking up as Bruce Wayne in his mansion. He's married to Selina. They've got a daughter named Helena. Damien's still there and has a little rivalry with his younger sister. The Waynes show up at the front door. Alfred's still alive. Like, it's like somehow he's Batman, but the Waynes are still around. But, you know, that doesn't have to make sense. It's Black Mercy, right? It's like, hey, it's the perfect life.
It's giving him what he wants.
Yeah, everything that he wants, right? And him and Selina are being flirty as Batman and Catwoman. Gordon even knows that he's Bruce because he says, don't worry, there's nothing for you to do tonight, Batman. Nightwing and Batgirl are out already dealing with everything. Our kids are doing what they always intend to do, Bruce. And it's like, oh, this is just so happy. And there's even a bit actually where the Waynes have taken Damien and Helena, which is what the daughter's called, just in case anyone didn't get that. And which is obviously based on Earth 2 and stuff. It doesn't matter. Anyway, if you know why she's called Helena, you know, right? But they're leaving the theater. They went to the movies together to see Zorro, and they go into an alley, and there's a shadowy figure reaching into his coat. But it turns out he's just catching up with them because Helena left her little stuffed Cobblepot penguin inside the movie theater. And like, oh, thank you very much, kind stranger. It's like, thank you kindly, and everyone's happy. I will say, like, obviously this is mostly just having fun with all the things that Bruce would want to be absurdly happy. What I did like about it, though, is how it ends, where he's having tea with Alfred. It calls back to that opening page where they're having tea, and like Alfred's saying all this stuff about the tea. We're having it in a cup, not a mug, because we're not animals. All that stuff. You know, it's hot but not scorching with a dash of milk. Blah blah. He's having tea with Alfred, and then there's just a black speech bubble out of nowhere that just says Bruce. And Bruce just closes his eyes and says, I know. And it's Batman. Batman's standing behind Alfred. He's like, hey, I'm sorry, but it's time to wake up. And I love this idea that he kind of knew deep down it was Black Mercy the whole time, but he just, he enjoyed it for a day. He was like, okay, I'm very analytical. I know what this is. And then he says goodbye to Alfred, and Alfred says he understands, and he's like, oh, I wish you were still around, old man, or whatever. And Alfred, just as he's fading away from this world, just kind of says, hey, you don't have to have your happiness only in this dream. You can actually have some happiness in the real world. So it's actually kind of a nice little ending that, you know, once again, Taylor pulling on the heartstrings of Alfred's death. But I like the ending. I like this idea that he kind of knew he was in a dream the whole time, but he was just kind of enjoying it until the manifestation of Batman in his head is like, look, it's time to wake up. That's what he does. He pulls the Black Mercy off of Lobo, which normally you can't do because it'll kill the host, but it's Lobo, so
Lobo.
Yeah, just go for it. And so yeah, they quickly win. The royal family here are like, hey, we're thankful for you. Batman takes Lobo's bike home because Lobo wants to have a Black Mercy again. He's like, hey, I quite like that. Put it back on me. And the final page just reveals what his like perfect reality is. He's one of the space dolphins.
Okay.
Right. And
That's the most I've ever liked Lobo. Was in 52 when they get there and he's become like this pope of the space dolphin religion. And he's trying not to be violent, and like the situations they have him in 52 keep trying him. And I want to say that was Mark Waid that had written that part. Maybe it was Morrison. That seems actually more like Morrison than
it's a very Morrison-y concept, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it was the most I've ever liked Lobo, and everything else that I've read since with Lobo has paled in comparison. So I'm glad that Taylor made that his Black Mercy. Yeah, but he's just out there with the space dolphins.
And they did set it up in the issue, actually. They flew past the dolphins, and Lobo's like, we're stopping for a minute. We have to watch the most beautiful thing in the universe. And I'm like, all right. But then it came back at the end with his fantasy. So, but the dolphin that he is does have a chain and does have the mustache going over the top of the dolphin. I mean, it's not a lip, but you know what I mean.
And I'm sure it looks great because it's Nicola Scott.
Yeah, it's Nicola Scott art. It's good. And the story was called For the Main Man Who Has Everything.
Okay.
Which is it's a good title.
Checks out.
I get it. That's fine. So, you know, I didn't love the story because it is still Lobo, and it still has that we have to just rush into a story because it's like a one-shot type thing. There's an art to doing a good one-shot, and I think sometimes it is just things shows up and stuff starts, and that's what this is. But it did have some good stuff in the fantasy. You know, I like some of those details. And the ending was kind of fun. So, you know, it has that Nicola Scott art. It has Tom Taylor's wit to the humor and stuff. So, not a bad time. I'd probably be like a 7.5 if I'm just rating on the main story on its own. The backup, though, which I wasn't sure what to expect here. I will say on the art in the backup, it immediately made me think it was a period piece, like it was set in like 1930s Gotham. It's not. It's present day Gotham. It's just the art just has kind of an old school looking aesthetic to it. So. Say that for what you will, but yeah, it's basically all about this street, this building, this like apartment building in a street, Carroll Street, that an old lady rents out to artists for studio space, right? And it's this really good vibes thing where a bunch of artists live there, or not even live there, they just have studios there, and the lobby's used as a sort of gallery to try and sell some of the pieces that the artists make down upstairs. And it feels like it's got good vibes, everyone's friendly, it's a bit of a community, and it's a really kind of like nice part of Gotham that's kept this creativity alive and this good spirits. But it's all about how this mysterious character moves in as a new artist and has immediately kind of a bad kind of mojo about him and starts like being rude to others, drives people out of the building, and over time kind of deteriorates all the atmosphere. And there's like these three main artists that we're kind of quickly introduced to who kind of stick around and try and convince the landlady to like, can we kick him out? And she's like, I'm sorry, but he pays like more than everyone else combined. He's kind of keeping the whole place afloat. We kind of can't get rid of him. And this artist is making like weird, like the one example we get is he's made kind of like a clay little like wild bat like cowl thing, and he's like making like art based on like the violence that Batman does or something to that effect. And it's like, okay, now obviously I said clay there, so you're probably thinking, is this going to be some sort of Clayface thing? It's not that. I actually predicted who this was going to be, right? Because this is a character who turns out to be someone, and the name that he's using does kind of give you a hint, which is why I've not said it yet. But the artist, the mysterious artist who has like a scarf over his face, and he's got kind of like an old, like I said, 1930s kind of mad scientist look to him. He goes by the name Mr. Stye. Does that give you a hint as to who it is? Yeah. So basically, this is Professor Pig. And obviously that makes sense because Professor Pig does make the Dolltrons. He does do art things, right? And he's driving everyone out of this building. And one of the artists goes to spy on him to find out what he's doing. And it seems like he's got actual Batman. Like he's somehow apprehended Batman in his room. And they all talk to each other and say, hey, do we call the police? Do we try and do something? It's like, oh, the police don't like Batman very much these days. Like that would, like they probably would just cheer that he's been got by a criminal, so on and so on. So we're going to have to save him. We're going to have to save Batman ourselves. So basically, these three artists like get like some bats and stuff and like rush into like Professor Pig's apartment building. And at this point, he's put on his pig mask. He's actually just being Professor Pig now. And the art's pretty nice here, actually, really spooky. And these three civilians come in with like a bat and like a. There was one got like a broom or something. It's like a lampshade. Like they've basically just got a bunch of like household tools they're using to try and fight off Professor Pig and get Batman out. And of course, once they get Batman his utility belt, he's able to kind of quickly save the day. And there's a really cool panel of like the shadow of his cowl like going against the wall as Professor Pig looks up kind of bloody and defeated. You know, so it was kind of neat. Honestly, Batman's face, once you get a good look at it, it's got a very kind of almost Batman the animated series look to the way he smirks, but he kind of like, you know, thanks the painters. And of course I'm thinking, well, he's going to like, you know, pay for the building, right, to make sure that this building can keep going and whatnot. Not exactly. He kind of like helps put on an art gallery show in the building, and he invites like the Atom and Oliver Queen and Dinah to come, and they all like buy art from here. So all the artists basically make a bunch of money. And there's also this big art piece of Batman with a like a censored Professor Pig thing that he's holding. It's just kind of a feel good little story. I liked it actually quite a bit. It's a little bit wordy, don't get me wrong, right? There's a lot of narration boxes in those first few pages, But I liked it because it was kind of like, no, this is a Batman story from the perspective of a couple of citizens in Gotham and how they end up helping Batman. Which actually made me think of a Batman animated series episode. It made me think of the one where Batman ends up in some kid's basement and the kid has to help protect Batman when he's in there. Made me think of that a little bit. So I like the vibes of it. It was like, fleshing out Gotham a little. And a good part of Gotham. Like, it's not just another dingy part where there's maybe one person with a heart of gold. No, this is a good place, good people, and they want to try and keep it, and they help fight back Professor Peg, and it turns out they're all pretty pro Batman in the end. Even though they debate kind of in the middle, like, is Batman a good thing for the city? Are we all is he kind of so old news at this point that he's not even that provocative anymore? And then, would you believe it, he ends up saving the day with them. So,
right,
it's a very nice story, very very nice special story. So yeah, that was Dave Wildgoss and Fran Mariscal on the art, which I left to the end because the credits on the last page. So, yeah. No, pleasant backup. I think in some ways it was probably a cooler story than the main one. I mean, the main story popped me a few times with the Taylor stuff. I think the backup was just a cool little, like, if anything, I would have liked the backup to have had a bit more pages to, flesh things out a little, and not because it's about 10 pages long. I think you could have easily done like a 20-page story with this premise, if not even a bit longer, to really flesh it out. But as it is, it's a pretty good backup actually. Which I often feel that backups suffer from what a lot of one-shots suffer from, which is that we have to tell a story that's all self-contained in this many pages. It can often be difficult to make you feel like it was worth anything. I think this succeeded in making me feel like, oh no, this was a cool little story about this art studio in Gotham.
Yeah, it makes sense that it's Velgaz too, because that dude, telling those type of real quick stories, I'm sure he gets the getting in, getting out, setting things up real quick. So
yeah,
helps.
So I mean, as a whole, it probably squeaks the annual up to an 8. I'd probably say if it was just the main story, it'd be like a 7, 7.5. But I think the backup elevates it a bit. Admittedly, it's not part of the ongoing Detective Comics story. It is completely skippable in that sense. You do not need it to complete the ongoing story. So it is completely optional in every way. But if you like the sound of those stories, especially the backup, then it's not a bad one to have. You won't be mad you read it by any stretch. So
Delta Squadron didn't come in and make the save.
Is that a tease for what you're about to talk about?
No. Delta Squadron was in tech, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Canary and Arrow and
the Prion quartet. Sorry,
so,
yeah. All right, there you go. That's my thoughts on Detective Comics 26 annual. And then the other book from this week that Matt read is the Superman 2026 annual year 1000 issue 1. Just rolls off the tongue. Joshua Williamson writing with Eddy Barrows on the art. So,
So, buckle in, Pete. So you'd brought up in the solicits about, what the Alan Moore titling. And that's what I thought you were making a reference to, because on the cover, the subtitle on this is Whatever Happened to the Omega Champion.
How is it that two annuals this week both reference titles of Alan Moore stories? What's happening?
Right. So weird, right? So, outside of a through line here that it opens with Clark seeing Lois, right? Or Lois is waking up in bed and she's looking for Clark and he is sitting up writing. And she's like, Clark, you haven't written in forever. What's going on? And then he just kind of disappears, right? And you've come to find out that it's Lois, pining for Clark and remembers a thing that Time Trapper had told him about, like, hey, you've fallen in love with these humans. You're going to outlive all of them. Your Kryptonian physiology, you're going to live forever. And so that's also a tie to Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, because that is like the last Superman story, right? That's supposed to be, Alan Moore ending the Silver Age version, and then Crisis happens and we get the John Byrne Man of Steel. And here we get to see Superman going to the end of time, right? And I will tell you, everything that happens in the Alan Moore story, far more fulfilling than anything that happens here.
Wait,
this is all.
Are you saying that Alan Moore's a better writer than Joshua Williamson?
No, because when you're telling the last story, right, you have this freedom to kind of do what you want.
Sure.
And here, this is not an actual last story. Like, yes, Superman goes to the end of time, but this is all just more Williamson. I don't want to call it slop because slop's too harsh, but he's just doing timey-wimey, playing with all of these different time periods at DC. And as a kid, we were watching a kid play with his action figures, which is great. I like the enthusiasm Williamson has. I just wish I cared for his story beats more. And that's a bummer. Because he's writing my favorite character. I love Superman. I love the history of the DC universe. This all should be for me. But there's just such a by the numbers approach that it's almost like we're just getting an outline. And he doesn't take time to get involved into like Superman's mindset in all of this. So after the Lois stuff, she looks up to the moon, and it immediately cuts to King Omega Superman, who has a really cool, like, Barrows draws the Jack Kirby influences of like the new gods. Like, do you remember the light armor he was wearing when he becomes King Omega? Kind of the weird headdress and stuff. We see him cutting through time and these different events, and we just basically get a recap of KO here, and we see these different things that are happening across time. A lot of 2-page spreads, which is really good for something like this, but it still feels too long because there is a backup. And yeah, so he cuts through all of this time. He's going through the King Omega stuff, and he gets to the point of the time chain where it stops and it becomes like a storm. And this is where he encounters the Hour Man of Year 1 Million, right? The android. And Superman's like, oh, yeah, you're from Justice Legion Alpha. What's going on? And he goes, oh, Darkseid destroyed our realm, right? When he was doing the KO stuff. And I'm here on my time ship, just going through the rough seas, trying to put the pieces back together. And you find out that there's this big entity that even the android can't perceive. You can just kind of see the outline. And that's where a lot of the storm is coming from. And, you know, essentially the android says that with the King Omega power, Superman can go and stop whatever's causing this, and those ripple effects should stop, and it will fully reset time, right? So we get him going to flying right into the head of the storm. And what we're dealing with now are these different futures. And so as Superman goes, we get another one of these double-page spreads. You know, we get the Batman Beyond universe. We get Commandy, you know, the Jack Kirby, Last Boy on Earth. We get OMAC, and we get the there was like the Teen Titans version of the Justice League, where it was Connor and Tim and Cassie as Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And as he's speeding through these, we see him fixing things. So there's like a panel of a wilting flower, and then it gets to like the Commandy one, and we jump back, and the flower is now unwilted. We also get weirdly the 5G version of things that we never got, right? So we see John, we see Yara. There's the Batman that was Lucius Fox's son. I'm forgetting. Was it Jace? I want to say. He's in there, which is weird because I always thought they were trying to distance themselves since they never got to 5G. So it was really weird that Williamson brings that back up as this future that has been remedied. We also get a weird panel of what looks like Damian, you know, the Damian when he's Batman and Batman 666.
Mm-hmm.
He has the high collar with the trench coat, holding the Batman cowl, but he's bald. So it almost looks like Lex Luthor, right? So there's this weird, the moon's destroyed and the Superman goes, the moon's back together. And the last panel on this page is the Justice Legion Alpha Superman, and everything's been restored. And Superman ends up in the ruins of the 31st century, which we find out was the ruins of Darkseid's Legion. This is their future, the future that never was. And essentially, when Darkseid, you know, did KO, he just left it this way. And so now Superman's there, and he looks like Time Trapper. So now Superman has become this version of Time Trapper, and he gets approached by this lady's by herself, and he goes and looks, and he gets approached, and it's Saturn Girl, and she has two twins, right? And it's giving the vibes of the Great Darkness Saga, which is this, back in the 70s, 80s, there was a story from the Legion where there was this prophesized Great Darkness, and it ends up being Darkseid, right? Which is what Williamson was playing on with Darkseid's Legion. And it's Imra, and she's like, I'm not Saturn Girl. I haven't been for a while, right? When Darkseid lost, he just left everything like this. And these ruins are going to be like this. And Superman's not ready to take that because these are his friends, right? It's the Legion. And we get a panel of Superboy with the Legion, and this is the one time where I have found the weakness in Eddy Barrows' art. He draws kids with their eyes too far apart. So, right? So when we see these young versions of Clark, of Saturn Girl, Cosmic Boy, and Lightning Lad, there's an uncanny valley to it. And other than that, the art looks great. Like, it's all the Eddy Barrows stuff that we see, the panel breakdowns, the action, all of this has been pretty good throughout. And there's a lot of rumination about like, oh yeah, he just kind of left us. He used us, and our future has never been set. So we're like stranded here. And there's a bunch of rumbles, and we find out that there's this being called the Infinite Man, and essentially without the Time Trapper, because remember in KO, Doomsday Time Trapper sacrificed himself to give Superman the power for him to win the tournament, right? There's the kill switch thing, and even though Superman doesn't win, he does win because of story armor. This Infinite Man has been able to just wreak havoc on the time stream, and he is messing with his future. And so the Legion's like, yeah, Time Trapper held him at bay, but without him there, we're stuck here. And Superman uses the last of his Omega energy, right, from the King Omega to fight the Infinite Man. And they go back and forth, and they become big like kaiju, and they're knocking down these ruins. And as Superman goes to take the winning blow, he ends up with those chains around his wrists like Time Trapper. And Infinite Man's like, oh yeah, no, you are now the new Time Trapper. Time is a chain. You're weighed down. I don't have this, so in order to win, you have to reject this, only one can live, right? One of us, you have to pick a Legion, right? Being the Time Trapper, you got to cull all these other ones. And Superman, of course, won't do that because it's Superman. So he rejects being the Time Trapper, expels all of the rest of the energy, and says, long live all the Legions. And when I was reading this morning, I was like, oh, if P was reading this, he might have thrown his tablet.
Yeah,
at this point.
Yes, the way I had this described to me briefly was that lots of different Legions are all kind of included to be like, hey, these are all valid, and that included like the new 52 Legion Lost and other some such things. And I'm like, if you definitely want me to never try Williamson's Legion book, so him even alluding to any of this crap is a good way of doing it.
So yeah, so I get where you're coming from on that, and where I think he's gonna go, because right, Superman, long live the Legion. What he does is basically mean the future's not set, right? Therefore, all of these futures are valid, right? Any of these numerous of the Legion, because the future, the possibilities are endless. Therefore, when he uses the rest of the Omega energy to disrupt the Infinite Man, all of them are possible, which means Darkseid's Legion is possible, but probably they're not going to be the main ones. So that resets the future side of the timeline, right? So as he expels this, Imra looks up and she sees her kid. Everything's kind of not back to normal, but stable. And she goes, oh, he saved us all. And we get Superman floating in his tattered cape, right? And he is seeing all of this, like that Omega energy from the King Omega energy from where Superboy pulls him out of. And as he is trying to escape, the one thing that's allowing him to not get pulled into this ultimate energy is his memories, right? It's Lois, it's John, it's all the people back, but it's especially Lois. And as he's fighting through this, and it's very reminiscent of Superman fighting out of the black hole in the 2025 movie. He gets pulled. That's where we get the time bubble with Superboy, with, Mary and John and Booster. And, his young version pulls him out, and we see this again. And that's where that part ends. And then there's a Legion backup that comes in, and we get art by Yasmin Putri and Emra. So Saturn Girl and Lightning Lad are with their twins, and they're rebuilding the ruins of their future. And the Hourman android shows up and tells as he's telling them this, like, oh yeah, Superman saved the time stream. The future's now, it's not set, but it's able to be whatever, so we can coexist. And as he is saying this big, huge, like, pillar lands, and Cosmic Boy tries to move it. And as he does, he gets wrapped up in this green chain, and it's a bunch of Brainiac drones. And the android, the Hourman android's like, oh no, not now. And the Legion goes to attack, and they get bottled up. And they look up out of this bottle, and there's just gigantic version of Brainiac that's apparently Brainiac 1 million. And he has them with Pandora, and they end up having this discussion where Pandora's talking to Brainiac 1 million and is like, look, I'm a harbinger for Darkseid. He said you can have the future. The future's yours to do whatever you want with. But he just wants a reminder, that you don't want to fight Darkseid. So he'll leave you with your Legion. And this is where he goes, oh, and he starts doing the monologuing where he has bottled up versions of the Legions across time, right? So there's the classic Legion. We got the 3 boot. We got the Legion Lost. We have New 52. And they're all there in Grand Brainiac style. And then we find out that he goes, one without superheroes is without a Legion. And he goes, he's talking to somebody, and we see him float into view, and there's just a red cape, and you see red boots. And he tells him to ensure that no Legion is ever forged in the future. It's up to you, and it's Cyborg Superman, right? And this is to be continued in Legion. So while at the same time Williamson's saying that the future's not set, right, that any of these are possible, in the backup he goes to go, well, actually, Brainiac 1 million's collecting all the other Legions, so it's only going to be this new one, right? Which we all know that's not going to be it. There's bottled cities. They needed to be freed. So I'm excited to see where the Legion goes, because when you turn the page, you get a preview, and it's Hayden Sherman doing his version of the Superman origin, which I know I've said I don't want to see again, but it's Hayden Sherman, so now I get that. And it's done with the Hayden Sherman breakdown with the panels making things, and it's all very, mid-century modern sci-fi. So this was a very up and down book where I enjoy what Williamson was trying to say with the future and the spirit of Superman, and him doing things to make sure that the future's not set, right? That is his mission, is to inspire and do all that. But then at the same time, we have this Legion story where he's trying to do all the crises happened, but also only one of them happened. And that doesn't work, man. You got to pick a lane. So the art from Eddy Barrows throughout is really good, except again, the kid page, it's not even a page, it's a panel, really threw me, Uncanny Valley. And then you get to the Putri art with Brainiac 1 million and Pandora, and everything looks great because it's Putri. We're a big fan of. But yeah, this is just him wrapping up all of his kind of sloppy type stuff. And again, I don't want to call it slop, but I don't have another word for it. It's just, it's Williamson getting to play with his action figures, and you have to sit there and listen to him and go, well, what about that? He goes, well, no, this is the next part of the story. We're not going to sit and focus on these little pieces. We're not going to have Superman ruminate about his past and Lois and John and all this and why he's, trying to get back to them. We're just going to have him go fight Big Monster because it looks cool. So that between the art and that, I'm safe to give this like a 7.
Okay.
Okay, sounds like messy, and I am glad I did not even try to read it. Thank you very much. Absolute Flash, issue 17, Jeff Lemire writing with Haining on the R. So, yeah, this is, it does a little bit of a flashback to start off, because we had a cliffhanger last time about Trickster showing up saying they had to kill Grodd. We see the Rogues actually gonna get this mission from Flag, and kind of like, okay, this is what we're doing, and kind of a spooky kind of entrance into the building where all the SWAT team guys that were there before are all being mind controlled and come after them. But Trickster ends up being immune to the mind control, so maybe something to do with her helmet or mask is blocking it. So she ends up being on the run from the other Rogues, and then that's when we smash cut back to just now, which is Trickster holding a little Grodd up with a knife, and saying they have to kill it, and they're like, no, it's not Grodd, it's Grodd's dad. He's the one doing all this bad stuff, and all the rest of it. Yeah. Also, they discover that Wally can heal fast, which Linda's delighted to proclaim new Flash power unlocked, and he's not accepted that name yet. And Trickster's like, "What Flash? What's going on?" That chemistry between them is still very good. It's still very likable, and all the rest of it. The thing here that kept coming up a couple of times, because they did 2 jokes about it, was whether or not Grodd's a monkey or an ape, and we've had this discussion before. And people straight up correct multiple times, say, no, he's not a monkey, he's an ape. But he does have a tail. Now, admittedly, he also has, like, these weird bits on his head, which regular apes don't have either. So, like, it's entirely possible that, it doesn't obey normal rules. But they are clearly saying here in dialogue, Grodd is an ape. And his dad is definitely an ape.
His dad is definitely an ape. His dad doesn't have a tail. So, like, this is what's driving me nuts, that they keep making this joke, and I feel like Lemire is like, there's this guy in Vegas that's going to drive nuts. I'm going to keep doing this. You know? But yeah.
But, I mean,
so, we get all that.
Yeah, but just to be clear here, though, I don't think the definition of an ape is that it does not have a tail. Obviously, it's true that apes do not have tails and monkeys do. But I don't think that's what actually makes them apes, and monkeys are monkeys because they have tails, right? It's like a feature that distinguishes them, but it's not what defines the fact that they are apes or monkeys. I could be wrong, I'm not an expert, but...
Yes, so no, that is what determines it. So they're all primates, but what makes it a monkey is a tail. And the tail can be prehensile, or it can be non-prehensile, right? Where it looks like maybe Grodd's isn't, right? He can't use it like an extra limb or anything. However, apes do not have tails. That's what makes them like the great apes, where you have gorillas, orangutans, chimpanzees, bonobos, and gibbons. Those are apes, all right? Then you have the monkeys, which do have tails. They're both primates. Lemurs also have tails. They're prehensile, and they are primates.
Okay, I get it, Matt. You know a lot about this. I don't care.
Yes.
Right? But...
Yes. So,
but you're saying that the tail or no tail is literally what defines if it's an ape or a monkey?
Yes, is the biological definition of an ape. Yes.
Okay. Well, having said that, though, his parent is clearly an ape, right? And he's also been experimented on in a lab. So they're saying that regardless of what tail we are seeing, they're saying he is definitely an ape. Yes.
Which is, again, I'm just going to have to accept the bad science of this, where a man can move at light speed, which is more acceptable to me than Grodd being an ape and not a monkey.
Like you say bad science, but let's say you got an ape, right? And you grafted a tail onto the ape. Would you then say that's now a monkey because you've grafted a tail onto it?
No, now he is a monkey because he has a tail.
No, he's not. He's still an ape. He's an ape with plastic surgery.
No. See, yes, this is where biological definitions get people into trouble, right? Like
you can duct tape a shark fin to my back, but I'm still not a freaking shark.
Well, if you can breathe through gills and you have a dorsal fin that cuts through the water, in that way, I'm gonna say you're a shark. All right, you're hitting the things, but yeah. So, outside of this one thing with the ape, the rest of the issue, right? Really gets the whole Grodd dynamic down in a way that I enjoy, because we have Papa Grodd in the more traditional Gorilla Grodd, right, where he's controlling humans, does not like the humans, right, has been given every instance not to trust them, right, versus Baby Grodd, the little one, who has forged this partnership and friendship with Wally, who believes that humans can be good, right? And then by the time we get to the end of the issue, we get to the absolute heartbreak here, which might change Little Grodd, into the more Grodd that we come to expect, right? Because as they're fighting through, they're fighting the rogues, they're fighting the people in this town.
Yeah, but
right?
all mind controlled, by Daddy
all
Grodd.
mind controlled from Papa Grodd. Papa Grodd has Wally, and Little Grodd stops him. And as they are, reconnecting, and he tells him stop, Trickster kills Papa Grodd, shoots him with a rifle from long distance, right in front of Baby Grodd. And then we get the very sad Baby Grodd trying to wake him up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, poof.
Yeah, to get more setup there, is the page before the gunshot is the quiet moment where Big Grodd and Little Grodd are putting the hands together and they're having a tender moment. And then you get the big two-panel page with like the gunshot going through Old Grodd's head, and then just the bottom half of that page being Trickster holding the sniper rifle. It's a very effective shock moment. It worked really well. And afterwards, hey, what did you do, Trickster? And Trickster's like, look, it had to be done. That was the job. Grodd was dangerous, but hey, you're looking for, because before they get into the fight with the possessed rogues, Trickster had been asking, what are you even doing here? And oh, we're looking for Eleanor Thawne. I'm trying to find my dad. Which there was a little as if Trickster knows something about the dad. But at the end here, Trickster does turn around before they leave and says, hey, by the way, Eleanor Thawne's here. She's, gives a location.
In Kansas.
Yeah. So it's so Trickster's not being it's hey, I'll throw you a bone. I've got the answer that you're looking for. So here's your next path in your journey. Even though I just did something that you think was monstrous, and you're probably going to hold a grudge. Especially, Little Grodd's definitely going to hold a grudge. I would expect.
So all I could think of is in that last issue of Mainline Flash, where Flash admits, or Wally admits, that Trickster's his favorite rogue because of the Airwalker boots. All I can think of is absolute Wally does not share that sentiment now. I can say that I don't think Trickster's his favorite rogue. Well, after all of this,
what made this really effective as well is that there's a little bit before they get attacked again, when they're just sort of talking, where Linda and Trickster kind of get friendly a little bit, where they're both kind of calling Wally a nerd for the whole ape monkey distinction. And it's all playful, it's all fun, but it does kind of feel like they're getting along. So it kind of humanizes Trickster. So that when this gunshot happens, it feels like more of a jolt. It feels like, oh shit, we were just trying to see Trickster. We were just starting to see Trickster as more of a human. And it's interesting because Trickster, of course, was the one who betrayed the rogues earlier on in this run, and then kind of they made up after the fact. But it's interesting that once again, Trickster has and probably more effectively this time, because we've had a little bit more of humanization, is kind of had that turn where we're like, oh shit. But I also like, though, that it's not just, oh no, Trickster's just an outright evil villain here. It's a lot more just it's cold, sure.
Shades of grey.
But but again, her throwing that bone to them afterwards, hey, Thawne's here, good luck on your travels. It's a lot more oh, you're definitely more into the anti-hero. We can maybe trust you for certain things, but clearly, you will stab us in the back if you feel like you've got a reason to.
Yeah, she's living up to that Trickster name with when you get into the mythology, you have the Trickster gods like Loki and Coyote, right? That are all, they do what fits them, and that's what makes them tricksters, right? And that's very much what this Trickster does as well, right? Sold out the rogues, but now, seemingly look like, because there wasn't really a turn on Wally. Trickster had a job to do, and they did the job.
Yeah, it's not a turn,
but then turns around and gives them information that they need to continue what they need to do. It was more just very shades of gray.
It was more just an implied we're kind of working together, and then boom, out of nowhere that, and then the final page is the full page spread of Wally and Linda looking down as little Grodd's hugging his dead father, and it's like, oh damn, the head is in the feels here with the Grodd death. So
yeah.
I mean, it was effective. I think it did a good job of fleshing out Trickster a little bit this issue. There's more nice Linda Wally dynamic stuff, which is cool, and then the ending was genuinely, like, I wouldn't say shocking in the sense I'm not shocked that it happened, but it was really well handled where the actual page of the gunshot felt like a nice shock in the story. So I enjoyed how that was executed, no pun intended.
The way that they, the way that they pulled that off really is a wonder. Because I didn't think that the dad, Grodd, was getting out of this, right? But I didn't think it was going to be a long distance headshot as he's reuniting with his son.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was hooey. It really pulled on the heartstrings in a good way.
Yeah, especially just right at the moment where it felt like they were, you know, the diplomacy was working. Like, little Grodd and Wally were talking him down and maybe going to get him to stand down, and maybe in time he would be, you know, trustworthy, rehabilitated, or at the very least not just be, you know, bloodthirsty and want to kill all humans. If nothing else, right. So just as the hopes of the peaceful part was going to happen, the peaceful like track, immediately killed by someone else, and that's it.
All gone.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's Trickster, and it's not like little Grodd can get revenge with mind control, because we know that it's blocked. So now it's added this dynamic between Trickster and Grodd as well to build on, you know. So yeah. And it definitely adds some layer to Trickster as an outlier in the Rogues, because didn't get possessed, right? Kind of took them all out, but always felt like an outlier compared to like Boomerang and Cold and Glider, you know? So just seeing that keep going. And then the fact that Thawne is in Kansas, which is probably in Smallville, right? So I'm sure we'll get some. I feel like a lot of these titles are coming up on something.
Well, they,
you know, with
and there's an important detail here you're leaving out. In Kansas, with Brainiac was the exact thing that was said. Brainiac was name dropped. So yeah, it does feel like we're building to some connective stuff here, at least with a couple of the Absolute books.
Because you know, with we have one with Kale and Wonder Woman and her whole thing, and then we have Hammond showing up in Green Lantern and Green Arrow, right? And then we all know that they have their little secret club. We got you know, Hawkman showing up in Superman and all of this. So it feels like there's all these threads that are being woven together. So it's starting to make the Absolute Universe feel cohesive in a way that it didn't before, which is cool, you know, without making them cross over endlessly or whatever. So if you're reading all of them, you're getting all these little pieces.
I mean, that was one of the things I said when they did that Absolute Evil one-shot, is that I think it's genius to have the villains crossing over long before the heroes. One, because it means they're more formidable because they've already have their shit together, but mainly just because it means we're not doing lots of crossovers, we're just alluding to some connections in the background that make the world feel connected before we actually do the whole, okay, now we're doing an event where everyone's intermingling and all the rest of it. So it means that we get to build to that a little bit more organically for a while, which is nice. So yeah, I don't know if we'll see Brainiac stuff with Thawne next issue, but we'll find out, I guess. So cool. And then the art is, you know, is good. It's been very consistent with the last issue or so, and it's very bright and vivid. I like the. I mean, you know, Linda does have kind of the anime eyes a little bit, but it's not. Yeah, it doesn't bother me too much here. It's not too over the top.
No. There is a panel with Wally that I really like that kind of takes advantage of that manga anime. It's when he does like that punch down with the Speed Force, and it knocks all the rogues down as they're being. Right? And even Wally's like, oh wow! But just the way that's drawn, like there's a sense of like energy and action throughout that works really well. So I feel like Haiting's kind of the perfect person for that.
The only, I guess, real critique I would say is that for the most part, this art isn't really kind of in fact, actually, that full page where he's punching the ground to like shock all the rogues when they're possessed is the only time that I can kind of see it there. But when he's running around, none of the you know, those red rectangles to represent the speed are there. So it feels like that's either been omitted, maybe they're going away from it in general, or just this artist is not doing that, and so it'd be nice if that was maybe a little bit more there just to kind of keep it consistent. But like I said, that page with the punch in the ground does have something resembling those rectangles going down the way to show the flow of the punch, but that's kind of the only time I see it here, I think. But yeah, no, solid issue. I think Absolute Flash is kind of been inching into pretty good territory, just little by little, basically since, after the first arc. It feels like it's been finding its feet just a little bit more. Well, it's never been on the same level as the main 3 or 4 Absolute books. It's definitely, a lot more excited to read it most months, I would say. Yeah,
the more Lemire spends on character dynamics, I think the better the book is. And that's where we get a lot here with Wally and Linda, with Grodd, with Trickster, and we're getting the interpersonal play between all of them, and that's where it really sings.
Yeah, Wally, Linda, the intermingling of the rogues, for sure. Yeah. That's where it's singing more than anything. All right, what are you giving Absolute Flash?
8.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I was going to go with a straight 8, but yeah, I had a good time, for sure. All right, cool. Absolute Green Arrow, issue 3, Pornsak Pichetshote with Rafael Albuquerque on the art. And apologies for Pornsak's last name being butchered there, because I'm sure I did.
Yes. We're trying. Yeah. Let me just say real quick, this feels like way more than 3 issues. Like, there's been so much that's happened in the first 2 and then this one. And I was like, we gotta be at issue 4 and 5 by now, right? And then I got to the end, I was like, this is only 3. Yeah, that's all. I just had to point that out, at least for me.
Well, I would say that's almost to a detriment, actually, because I was reading this issue and I'm like, oh god, I'm trying to remember everything this is set up, because it's set up so much that, I get into the issue and I'm following what it's doing. You've got Dani going after Roy and try to sort of, is he a suspect, is he not, so on, and but I have to admit, this is definitely feeling a little bit overstuffed with ideas to an extent, where I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed with trying to remember all the things, because we've done all the things with, okay, Oliver worked with these other rich people, one was really dodgy and liked underage girls, and is Oliver actually still dead or not? That's something that's brought up by the end of the issue, where Roy's like, oh, I don't think Oliver's dead. The art's pretty good, especially in the action. When it does when the Green Arrow killer showed up, when we had Hector Hammond as a decoy kind of thing, all that stuff of the Green Arrow killer fleeing the scene and blowing out the windows and jumping out, all looks great. The art there is all fantastic.
And then the pursuit too, right? As Dinah's pursuing the longbow killer through everything, and then the security detail starts taking shots at him. All that stuff is fantastic.
Yeah,
it moves.
Yeah, there's jumping off roofs. There's been surrounded by SWAT team members and all that. And maybe the most interesting thing is that towards the end of it, these 2 civilians kind of protect him, because they kind of think, oh, he's going after these really bad rich people. When one of them is in danger, the Green Arrow killer turns around and protects him, saves him. So it's showing that this killer, while he's killing people he thinks is bad, he's not necessarily not got at least some of a heart of gold in there. He's still protecting some innocent people. So
it's made very clear that if the longbow hunter's coming after you, or the longbow killer, you got a couple zeros in your bank account, more than a couple, and you've done some really heinous stuff. So I did like that it took time though to show the people are accepting what's going on, and that they're doing the thing where they're getting in between the SWAT team and this guy, because they agree with what he's doing. And
it felt like this is really the only time so far that we've developed the character of this killer, because obviously he's behind the mask. We don't know who it is exactly yet. So I think this moment really said a lot to be okay, he's more interesting now as a character than he was before. And that idea that some of the public are kind of agreeing with him is brought up, because we get a little bit of this news podcast show where the host is talking about, 1 in 5 young people are actually siding with a serial killer, and that's kind of depressing, and so on. So those ideas are interesting, for sure. Once it gets into the stuff where Dinah's holding Roy at gunpoint, and he's bringing up his past with Oliver, that stuff, I was starting to get a little bit like, okay, we're fleshing this stuff out, which is good. But we've been doing so much of that over the last few issues that I feel like after every issue I'm forgetting all the history they've done with Oliver in the Absolute Universe, because there's been so much of it so far.
Yeah, they're somehow just hitting the same beats but with new stuff, right? It's the same thing. Like, oh, he was friends with this dodgy guy, and he kind of knew, but he kind of looked the other way, and there might be some guilt with that, and that's where a lot of this is coming from. You know, we keep getting that beat over and over and over again. And then also, let me just say that Absolute Roy sucks. Like, I do not like this guy. So, you know, just the way that he is, and he gets more erratic, which I really like that Pichetshote really did that, where first you're like, oh, okay, he's just one of Ollie's friends that we're following up with. We've done this before. But as Dinah talks to him more and more, we get like, this dude's not participating in the same reality everybody else is. And he starts going off on these conspiracy tangents, and he starts talking about like, oh yeah, I was going to do like a Red Arrow app to compete and just do the opposite of what I do, because Ollie was so good at what he did. And you're just kind of like, okay, this is really weird. What's going on? And like, is it a red herring? I don't know. You know, I just know I do not like being around this guy at all, as he's starting to get more manic on the car ride. And then when we get to, you know, the stuff that he starts finding, we're just like, what the hell kind of mad scientist is Hector Hammond into, right? Because we saw the stuff in Green Lantern when he made the Todd, the obsidian creature, right? And now we get these versions of Grundy and what looks like maybe Metamorpho. Right? Like, who's this flat guy on the table?
Oh, is that what you're thinking? You're thinking that's Metamorpho? Okay.
Yeah, he's bald and like real pasty white. You know? I'm not sure who it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I just kind of...
That's what I thought of him.
I just assumed it was like a failed experiment or something, or... Because, I mean, he's kind of trying to say something, I guess. He says, help me die. But I'm not... I mean, maybe it'll turn out to be Metamorpho. I didn't really think about who that was, but the way it ends though is that they find this lab, and they're because they're basically trying to track down what the bad guys are doing with this the Miracle stuff, and
Miracle,
they find this guy who's like a melted like husk on a table saying "kill me."
He's deflated.
Yeah, but Roy's like, you know, Hammond had test subjects, all codenamed after nursery rhymes: Mother Goose, Hickory Dickory, Solemn, and then you just get this red panel of Dinah's eyes looking over as you hear a voice say, Solomon, and then the final page is the reveal of Solemn Grundy, with a bunch of eyeballs all over his body, which feeds into the other victim that was brought up earlier that had eyeballs in different parts of his body.
Well, had no eyeballs. Yeah. Except on the body. So...
well, a lot more than usual, technically. Yeah, not in the place you would think. Not what I was getting at. The two expected eyeballs, but actually way more eyeballs than most people in total.
Yeah, so I do like this is again tying in the Hector Hammond being so involved in the dark stuff in this universe, because the ties to Miraclo and the Miraclo executive that the Longbow killer killed was like the great grandnephew of Rex Tyler, who created it. And because of the pharmaceuticals, they turned into this mega steroid, you know? And Hammond's responsible for a lot of that too.
And there's talk of Hammond like go buying the company that owned it, like he went after it and grabbed it all because he wanted access to it and all the rest of it. So Hammond being like this, like, you know, guy who runs a mad scientist organization basically, who tries to weaponize every sort of weird technology and bio material that he can get his hands on. I like that aspect of it for sure. Admittedly, I think weirdly the part that I'm enjoying the least in this book is whenever they start doing the history of Oliver Queen, which is weird because it's absolute Green Arrow. But it's just every time they do it, it just kind of feels like I just wish we'd focus more on just the hunt for the killer and like you know what's going on now.
Yeah, I would say that's Pichetshote's biggest downfall with this book is the constant tying to putting a dark mirror up to our society, because we've done that all 3 issues now with Ollie. being a bit too forgiving of his one friend, who is definitely a stand-in for Epstein, you know, with having this island and underage girls and all this other stuff. And I feel like I get what they're trying to do, but at this point in the story, I don't think we need to keep bringing that up, right? You've made your point. All these people suck. You know, all this, when you have that amount of money, it corrupts. And this is why Ollie might be, if this is Ollie, right? Because we get the vibe here that Roy was digging up Ollie's grave to prove that Ollie wasn't there, because Hammond took the body and was doing the experiments, and that's what leads to, you know, them finding this secret lab called the Island. And yeah, so if Ollie is trying to come back and make up for lost time, you know, for the mistakes that he had made, you know, that's cool. Let's move it on, because again, this feels like way more than 3 issues worth of stuff at this point. And it's moving at a glacial, I don't say at a glacial pace, but, you know, we're retreading the same track. But it all builds to this really cool last page with Grundy and Dyda, and it's straight out of a horror movie. You know, the look of fear on her face with the gun, and him having all the eyes on there. You know, that's a real good moment. So I'm glad it built to that. But maybe speed it up would be my thing.
Yeah. It's not bad, like by any stretch, and I'm still enjoying parts of what it's doing, but it's definitely not as like an altogether cohesive package as much as some of the other Absolute books are at this point. So, you know, I'm curious to see where it's going with some of this stuff, and they have extended it, so we're getting up to 12 issues of this now. Yeah. Which should be interesting.
Yeah, I also wonder if that's why they're trying to throw in, Pichetshote was trying to throw in as much lore as they could, not knowing it was not going to go past 6. Right? Yeah, so there's stuff that they really wanted to hit on. And so maybe as it goes now, he'll be able to like decompress it a little and take some time. Because I really love this version of Dinah. Like seeing her do all the cool stuff, and like there's this compound bow that she picks up from Roy's and was like, look, I'm not very good with this thing, so you might want to start talking because I don't know where the next arrow is going to go. I like that. I like that take on her, you know? And then here too, showing our hero be utterly scared of this monster is so relatable, you know? So it's cool, like, to see that side of things.
Yeah, they also do a little bit of a flashback with her and how she got her nickname when she won a fight, like, in a ring and stuff. It's a very quick thing, but it's there just to kind of flesh her stuff out. Yeah, what's so weird is that they're doing an Absolute Black Canary one-shot to tie into this, and I'm like, but this book already is Absolute Black Canary. I mean, that's what this is. So, very strange. I'm assuming it's going to be like an old flashback issue or something like that, effectively. But, hey, so, yeah, I'm not, like, super enthusiastic about this one right now. Like, it's doing some interesting stuff. There's some really nice art in parts of this, particularly whenever the Green Arrow Killer shows up, the art tends to be very good. The conversational stuff in other pages is a bit more like maybe not the strength of the artist, but with Albuquerque.
For sure.
But that's always been true of Albuquerque, though, to be fair, because he draws everyone like they're in like a sketchy horror movie. So when there's action or horror stuff happening, great. When it's people talking, it's like it's fine. It gets the point across. Yeah. But I'm like, there's points where Roy was just reminding me of Skinner Sweet from American Vampire.
Yeah. Except Skinner's cool. This
Roy not so much.
This Roy sucks. Yeah, like Skinner, you know Skinner's gonna cut your throat. You know what I mean? Like, you don't trust that man. But there's also an air to him. You're like, that guy's kind of cool. I'd give him licorice or peppermint. What was it? Was it peppermint?
No, I think it was licorice.
He was in too, or was it? It was licorice. Okay, I can't remember. But yeah, this Roy, the more he started going off on his insane rants, I was like, dude, this is a Wendy's. Like, what are we doing?
All right, what are you giving Absolute Green Arrow?
7.5.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with a flat 7, I think. But there you go. So cool. All right, Superman Unlimited issue 15. Dan Slott writing with Lucas Meyer on the art. So we had an idea, of course, at least this plot was getting wrapped up because of the Action Comics issue last week had a little bit of a reference or two to this all being wrapped up. So we already knew from last issue though that this is Ultra Boy effectively. This is Ultraman's son who was in a volcano. Basically, Ultraman did the same thing to him after regular John had been escaped and grown up. So yeah, big fight takes place. They're in the steelworks in Smallville. All the kryptonite crystals are growing, which has done something weird to Lana's superwoman powers, but she's able to do stuff with it, whatever. And Lois has the Kents hold the phone up for Crypto. The Kents ring the tornado warning to basically get everyone in town to try and run to their shelters to get away from the kryptonite crystals that are all expanding. And the Batplane comes in. Damian comes, zooming down as Batman goes off to help civilians, whilst Damian's here to fight the imposter, as Damian puts it.
He does a superhero landing punch when he yells imposter up here. This is for John Kent. And I was just like, damn, Damian, that guy looks like your best friend and you still did not hold back. Props to you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's doing a lot of what you'd expect it to. And yeah, it's, basically John convinces Ultra Boy, hey, if you're doing all this, you're worried about us putting you in a cell. Listen, use your super hearing. You can hear people all over town terrified. They're scared. They're thinking they're going to die. You can save them right now by dealing with this kryptonite that's spreading because you're not weak to it like we are. And yeah, he convinces them, and he does the whole lifting up, he collects all the kryptonite into a big pile, lifts up the ground that it's sitting on, puts it into space, big heroic moments, all the rest of it. And afterwards, everyone's standing around, and it's like, okay, what do we do with this kid now? And what's wild is that Lois reveals she figured out who Tomorrow Man was a while ago, and I'm just kind of like, then why have we been doing this song and dance where she doesn't know the whole time?
What's with the charade?
Yeah.
What's with the charade? Why Slott? You could have just had, if you really want to show us that she's Lois Lane, Ace Reporter, just have her be like, I don't know why he's wearing the mask. I know my son. Just a throwaway line like that would have been early on, would have been fine.
Well, it's just weird to me to have any of this play out this way, because it would have been more interesting to have him pull her aside and say, hey, Mom, what the hell do I do with this kid version of me? What's going on? This is strange. Now, him being conflicted, thinking, oh, my mum might want to spend time with this age of me because, my time was robbed and she never got to see me grow up. And Damian even has that kind of thing where he's still kind of hoping for the real John to show up someday, and old John's like, nah, Damian, it is me. I'll always be your friend. But so there was a little bit of heart there, which I appreciated. And then, of course, the other thing is that the imp shows up. Let me just get the name here. Tizzix. Tizzix shows up and basically says, hey, I'm going to give you a choice. I'm actually going to let you pull your actual real young self out of the portal. But you either pull yourself out and send this Ultra Boy back, or you can let Ultra Boy keep free. And John, without even thinking about it, says, I already know I turned out fine. I got over it. I got out. I'm fine now. Of course, I'm not going to pick my younger self over Ultra Boy. Ultra Boy, we can give him a fighting chance. Now, Batman gets a little bit weirdly racist and says, he's from Earth 3. On a genetic level, he is destined to be a prick. Basically. Yeah. Which is kind of wild.
I do like that John looks at Bruce and is like, look, man, I don't care what you say. I know there's good in him. I've spent time with him. All right, let him be who he needs to be. So I do like that he is his father's son. Yeah. So I do appreciate that.
However, though, we immediately have to have we don't actually want this extra alternate John kid around. So Superwoman from Earth 3 is just going to show up and say, that's my son. I'm taking him back. No one argue with me, and just leaves with him. And I don't know, it was kind of a lose-lose situation, because part of me is like, okay, this story's been a little bit frustrating because of how you've handled the Tomorrow Man stuff and him keeping his identity a secret. I get why he wouldn't tell young John. I said that from the start, but it never made sense why we had to do the whole hiding from everyone else thing. So that was frustrating, but I don't really want this alternate young John to be around either. It's murky, it's an extra character to deal with that I don't think I really want around. But at the same time, just getting rid of him as quickly as possible in like 2 pages here at the end of this arc feels so lazy, and like of course it's just so we don't have him around anymore. It feels like it's a lose-lose. This is unsatisfying from a writing perspective, but I also didn't want him around, so I don't even know what I wanted from the ending of this, and it's because the story thus far put me into this corner where there was almost nothing they could do that would work for me in a way that would be like satisfying.
Well, Superwoman only showing up because of the 4th dimensional it being like, "Hey, mom, come get your kid." It's like, God damn, that is ultimate Deus Ex Machina. Yeah, like literally, like it is. You know, so that was unfulfilling. Yeah,
the only thing I liked about it is the imp himself thinking it was funny. That like they all agreed to keep him here, and then they were all sad that he got ripped away, and he's like, ha 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 ha, I ruined it for you. Like I was like, okay, I kind of appreciate that he's a little shithead who thinks that's hilarious.
Yeah, and yeah, it also makes me wonder too about like, okay, what's gonna happen to this Superboy on Earth 3 now that he's been over here and he has felt compassion? Like, what's that going to do to him on Earth 3? I'm far more interested in him on Earth 3 now than I was at him here being here. Yeah. So at least Slott got that to work, you know?
Yeah, maybe we'll catch up with him and we'll actually see that he's trying to be good on Earth 3 and all the trials and tribulations that maybe comes with. But yeah, the imp does all this. He's the one that brings Superwoman through to come get him. Lois is proud of John for just immediately making the choice that he made. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I got a little confused in the last page, and it felt like the art and the writing were kind of clashing here a little bit, because Lois says to John, because John flies her to the Daily Planet before they go home, and she says, I have to let go of an employee. And then, so the dialogue is clearly implying, hey, I kind of tried to force you into journalism like me. You know, you've been expected to be the next Superman or the next Lois Lane, and you should really just find out what your thing is. So all of this says that she's, taking his badge and taking his writer's pen and saying, no, go and be whatever you want to be. But I also got confused, though, in the art, because John's holding on to those things on the last panel as he flies off with her. It feels like like the art makes it look like she was handing them to him as if, here's your glasses and your press badge. This is what you are now. But all the dialogue was saying to me, no, you shouldn't be forced into this because that's what I do. I was like, which one is it?
Like, had he kept the glasses and let the Daily Planet ID drift away as he's flying away from it, I think it would have been a little bit better. But yeah, that was it's very frustrating because I feel like no one knows what to do with John at this point.
Yes.
So they're just kind of throwing stuff against a wall.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that he's got a different outfit from Superman now, and that he's maybe going to be the one who does wear a mask, even though I hate the mask that he's wearing. At least, okay, he's going to do his own thing, so he would rather wear a mask as a superhero than wear glasses as a regular human. Okay, that's different for a super character. I appreciate that. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm not down on this run by any stretch. I think this was a weird arc.
No.
But I'm liking the El Cadera stuff. I'm liking the build-up to the Zod story that we got and the action and all that. And I'm looking forward to what we're doing in this run after all that. It's just that this Ultra Boy, Superboy thing has been kind of weird, and just bits that didn't make sense to me.
It's very funny how quick I forgot about this when we got to the Caldera stuff in that Action Comics 1100, and then we came back to that this week. Then I was like, oh yeah, we had all the Superboy stuff we had to wrap up, But I'm immediately into all the Zod stuff that Slott set up at the end of that Action Comics, So, that's a good sign for the run. But like you said, this is just an off arc that we had questions about from the beginning.
And it's not like there was nothing in it that was enjoyable. There's good little moments here or there and whatnot, but there's these big things hanging over it that just felt weird. It didn't make sense.
The one thing I'm really going to remember is John, the Ultra Boy, really caring about animals, yet being from Earth 3, where it wouldn't seem that would be something that's going to, be fostered. So, so him caring about Beppo being locked in the cage, and all that type of stuff. Because not just because he was, but it just felt like he cared about other things that weren't himself. That'll stand out to me. Also introducing Beppo throughout here.
Sure.
It was pretty fun. So yeah, there are some highlights, but there's also some lowlights down there. And the Lucas Meyer art I would put closer to the highlights because everything does look good, even though it might be a bit confusing, like you said at the end.
I think the way I would sum it up is that all of his character writing and like still worked really well. Like the characters were still making interesting decisions that felt true to their characters throughout. It's just that the actual premise of the situations they were in was kind of strange. So John being like, I'm going to keep my identity a secret even from everyone who knows who I am anyway. Very weird. But some of the character choices he made when he was trying to teach Ultra Boy things felt true. It felt like, oh, that's a lesson that he would want to teach, and it felt there was some heart in it. So there's a lot of that throughout where like there's character moments that are good because they still feel true to who they are, but just like weird contrivances in the plot to put them in those situations make it harder to enjoy. So, you know, this is a give and take thing by and large.
For sure.
And yeah, the last page being confusing is just the last page, really. I don't know what's going on. Like you know, I think she's taking his badge away and saying, no, go do something else. But the art's a little bit not lining up with it. But I think that's just a slight art issue.
It's a mother telling her son, you know what? Go do what you need to do. You know, we'll be here. So
he's like, I
like that sentiment.
I'm going to be a TikToker. I'm going to be an influencer, Mom.
Okay, not that. Here's your badge back. Go get to work. Sit at that computer. God, a super influencer would be the worst thing ever.
All right, what are you giving Superman Unlimited?
Yeah. I'm going to straight 7.
Yeah, I think there's enough things in it I like that I'm also going to give it a 7. I think I agree with that. But like, there's definitely some dings as well that are worth mentioning. So cool. Wonder Woman issue 35, legacy number 835. Stephanie Williams writing with Clayton Henry on the art. I decided not to read these fill-in issues. I'll just come back when the main team's back. Because I didn't really, because the last time they did a pair of issues, I really didn't like them very much. So
it's you're not wrong. This is fine, right? And it is mainly the story of Lizzie and why am I drawing a blank? Steve going on this boat to the river or on the crossing to the underworld because of what has happened with Diana, essentially fooling fate, right? Because the fates made it very clear what Diana was supposed to do, and her offing herself with the God Killer sword wasn't part of the deal. So now it's completely thrown fate into, you know, disarray. So now they're on this passage to the underworld, and the art out of Clayton Henry is probably the best Clayton Henry art that I've seen in a long time. It might be the colors at play here, like especially when they're on the river with the boatmen, and there's like this aurora borealis of purple, pink, you know, against them, right? But essentially, this is Stephanie Williams doing her version of Diana's origin on Themyscira, right? So we go through all of the beats about her wanting to leave for Man's World and Steve showing up. But there's a caveat that it's Diana taking fate into her hands. And this is something that she's always done. And that as Steve is telling the story, it's setting up that like on Themyscira, there was this glass, and it was the way that Hippolyta could keep an eye on what's going on in the Man's World, but it would only be in like fragments. So he says it would be like watching a movie through a keyhole. And it was through that, you know, portal she's watching that got her involved to leave as the Queen of the Amazons to get involved with the Justice Society, right? So they pull up about Hippolyta being on the JSA. And that's the Wonder Woman thing there, because Diana's like, yeah, like, I want to leave and go experience these other things, right? But you won't let me. But I know you left because you have this costume. And so that's where we get that, you know, Hippolyta had worn the costume that Diana will wear as Wonder Woman. That came from her mom, you know, and that that she doesn't want Diana to go there because she was there when the government turned on the Justice Society. And like all the selfless heroic acts that they had done was all for nothing to be questioned. Like man's world cannot be, you're not built for that. And so, he's starting to tell Lizzie that there's a lot of you in her and that, you don't take no as an answer. You take it as like a suggestion, like, oh, why not? And you get that from your mom. And they get into her training for the trials. And then he crash lands there. And, Hippolyta's like, oh man, this sucks. If man's world's coming to us, that means there's something going on. And she kind of intimates like it's like a crisis. Like anytime a man washes up on shore, it's the universe being like, you need to interact with it, with the outside world. So they hit Steve with the purple ray, and then we find out that Diana enters the contest against her mother's wishes in the mask, and that it plays out in the way that we know that it does, it doesn't. It gets ready to start doing that, and we get Steve and Lizzie having the discussion about fate, why she would do all of this, and that there's this line in particular that goes, "I think your mother would say no, that no one gets to decide who you are, not the fates, not the matriarch, not even me." And then Lizzie goes, "Not even mother," right? So it's Steve talking to Lizzie, being like, "Look, man, now that she has done this, what we have been through, what she has sacrificed to prevent the matriarch from taking over, everything's in your hands. You make your fate. Fate's not made for you." And then, so I feel like we're going to get the back half to this origin that Stephanie Williams gets to do. But yeah, I'm not upset that I read it, but it's all stuff that, again, it's redoing the same tropes. It was nice that we got it from the different point of view, right? We're getting it from Steve's point of view of telling the story, that you feel like this is what Diana had told him throughout their relationship, and we see it play out. And again, Clayton Henry's fixed his forehead issue that we used to make fun of, because everyone's heads here are proportional. And the stuff set on Themyscira looks all nice. Like he draws the Amazons very well. But yeah, it's just kind of by the numbers. Stephanie Williams loves the Wonder Woman characters. Like you can tell with the way that they're handled, and the conversations that happen between Hippolyta and Diana that are peppered through, where a lot of the discussion of fate comes from. But yeah, I was like, it's just an okay issue with decent art, so I am surprised that you did skip it, but I don't think you're missing out on a hell of a lot, right?
I don't think so.
It's not, but it's also not like fluff where I felt like I wasted my time. It's just, again, stuff from reading Wonder Woman we're all very familiar of. It's kind of the Bruce Wayne, leaving Gotham to find himself and interacting with all the great masters. Like we've gotten all those stories a million times, and this is just Diana wanting to leave, and why not, Mom? And I'm pushing her against it. So fairly decent issue, but not at all necessary, which makes it to me a 7.5.
Okay, there you go. Nightwing 140, Legacy number 327. Dan Waters writing with Dennis Cowan on the art. So, we're still in this, I say Gotham lore, Bloodhaven lore arc, and this one does take us to an interesting place. We have more of Nightwing working with the Doctor, from Dark Patterns, and they're looking at this other dead body that's washed up in this sort of this nexus point in the water because of all these bridges and roads they've been building. The main thing here, though, is after Nightwing goes hunting for, whoever he's looking for here, and also getting mad because people are on the radio saying that he's, like, all this stuff about him seeing a witch is all a bunch of killbilly, he's just a vigilante, he needs to face justice, yada, yada, yada. It's all about him looking for this guy, this cannibal guy, who...
Cannibal Comb.
Comb.
God, man, don't go looking for Cannibal Comb. Leave that alone, dude.
He's looking for Cannibal Comb because Cannibal Comb has information, right? Well, that's not why he's looking for him. Technically, he's looking for him because it looks like Cannibal Comb murdered this guy who washed up in the water.
So, Yeah, so pieces of the guy washed up in the coroner, or I'm drawing a blank on his name. It's Sarika. Sarika is like, oh yeah, the arm was cut off clean with like a machete, but there's also bite marks on it.
Yeah.
So like, it's definitely we're looking for Cannibal Colm. I think it matches. I think he even says it matches the dental.
Yeah, they bring up they don't just
have for him.
They don't just assume it's a guy named Cannibal Colm because there's a bite mark. They actually do check the dental records. Yeah. So that's why he's looking for him. And this dead body is this guy who was like, you know, a known criminal from years ago, but he's been kind of missing for like maybe a decade or something like that. However, this body's only a few months old. Like, so he has been around. He's just been kind of off the radar. And when Nightwing gets to Cannibal Colm, has a quick bit of a fight to sort of calm him down and whatnot. He's like, okay, like, why did you kill this guy? Like, what's going on? And basically, it turns out Cannibal Colm was working as like a driver for the current mayor, the one who's done all this restructuring and building and all that stuff. And he's heard some stuff, right? And this guy that he killed was the original, or at least previous, psycho pirate. You know, because this guy talks to the mayor about how, he's groomed this other guy in the other cell to become the new psycho pirate, and his expertise is in the manipulation of emotions and playing like superheroes like a fiddle and all that. And basically says that he wants to take his work to the next level. And that next level is this idea of how do you affect the feelings of an entire city, like of everyone who lives in a city. And basically just starts plotting with the mayor about how we're going to start off with building a road, this highway. We're going to go through neighborhoods that now can't be lived in. We're going to, you know, the issue even starts with Nightwing talking about this neighborhood he's in, go to this dive bar, where this used to be a place where families would go to spend the night because there'd be a lot of things they could do. There'd be nice areas to hang out. It would be a very, you know, community-driven place, and now it's mostly tarmacs for cars. And then, so basically this idea of manipulating the entire city to feel worse by intention, to make everyone's worlds worse and their lives feel worse, to create all this negative energy. And this, you know, the original Psycho Pirate here with the big mustache, he's like, oh, this is my passion. This is like my art. I'm going to like make everyone feel horrible. It's really good.
He's Colin Robinson with a mustache.
Yeah, he's feeding off all the energy in the city.
Yeah. And so just there's an image that stuck out to me, and that's the freeway over the suburbs, right? That this should not go, right? Like that is an image where they seem counter, and the fact like Cannibal Colm saying like, they were talking about things like ley lines, and that's why they built the road along certain ways. Like they're harvesting all of this energy and making people feel worse for it. And I was like, oh man, like we're getting Dan Waters has clearly has a passion for urban planning, and he's using comic book work to you know, discuss it, because there's got to be something to this, right? Like you have all of these, you know, this road cutting through people's, you know, lives that wasn't there before. And there's got to be some output from it. So the fact like he's using this, it's not exactly magic, right? But it's just like this flow of energy now has been disrupted, and it's making everyone feel worse for it.
Well, it's intentional. That's the point. Is like he even says it's meticulous. They're planning this. They're intentionally causing as much misery as possible as they can to ruin everyone's lives. And ultimately, when the highway was about done, the original Psycho Pirate, I say original, I don't know if he's actually the first Psycho Pirate, but he's the previous one.
No, he is. I looked into it. He made his debut in 1946 in the pages of All-Star Squadron. So
cool.
Or 44, not 46.
So this original Psycho Pirate, like, wants to see his creation. He has called Cannibal Colm, drive him up to a spot, and he looks out, and he basically turns and says, you know, how does this make you feel? Like, did you grow up in Bloodhaven? Has your old neighborhood been decimated by this highway? And he just makes the choice to pull out a machete and chop him to bits. He kills him. And when he's telling this to Nightwing, he says, and if anything, he didn't look shocked that I was killing him. If anything, he looked satisfied, because this was the effect that he was hoping for. This had made me murderous. This had made me angry. and this was the desired effect. He kind of died knowing that his life's work had been achieved. It's a whole thing. So yeah, I don't know. It was this interesting idea of like, yeah, Cannibal Cole's clearly a villain. He's clearly a bad guy, but in a lot of ways, he killed the original Psychopirate because of what he was doing was so evil and so manipulative that he couldn't stand for it. It's interesting stuff. And then this all comes to a head when cops show up at his house working for the mayor because they want to take him out because of what he knows. And they just shoot him point blank and they murder him even though he's got no weapons. So Nightwing ends up having to fight the two cops and, you know, beats them up accordingly. But even he's putting in some extra punches that he wouldn't be doing otherwise. And he's like, oh shit, I am getting angry. Like this is working. Like there's been like a bad vibe in the air ever since this thing was built. So he looks out the window at the end and you just sort of see the highway in the background and we're getting worse. Like something has to change. So yeah, I like this idea of like, it's kind of like it's not quite like, you know, the back rooms or anything like that. But it's almost like an intentional back rooms where, we're going to just like, we're not going to do something on the surface evil. We're not going to like, you know, walk out of the street and murder innocent puppies or anything like that to make everyone sad. We're going to do something really mundane, but that it's meticulously planned to just screw everyone over so that everyone just gets more and more depressed. Like there's something just so malicious about that, but in a really kind of like what would I say, bureaucratic paperwork kind of way that I really think is kind of fun for a story.
It's that thing where you see online people are like, why is everything terrible now? Right? And it's just like, it's these things that have been, you know, it's the death by 1,000 cuts type thing. It's all these little things over time and they just add up and it's just draining, you know, and the fact that that's what Nightwing's dealing with now, as you know, with the city, and he's attributing it like with the witch and stuff, but it's like, man, this is even scarier because this is human corruption, right? This has nothing to do with the magic. This has, you know, them making stuff worse just to make it worse. And I also, with the cops, right? They tell Nightwing to find Cannibal Colm because they want him because, you know, he had done this. And they don't even knock. They just start opening fire, right? And then the cop says, just die, after they have, you know, fired into Cannibal Colm a bunch of times. And Nightwing points out that he was unarmed and they're like, oh, kill Nightwing too. You know? Yeah. So it's just like this new brutal Bloodhaven that's come up under the new mayor. You know, it's a stark contrast to the Bloodhaven that Nightwing was even in before, even with the Dark Circus that came to town. You know?
And it's interesting as well is that a lot of the stuff that's happened because of it, it's not even that it's creating new bad things. It's just like surfacing all these like skeletons in closets, and the witch was long ago here. The bodies in the river were already here. Like it's all stuff that was already here. It's just, but it's all bringing it out of the woodwork, and it's just making it all rise to the surface. It's really good, unsettling horror storytelling, but working in the confines of a superhero story, which is really cool. So, and that was also true of the Cirque du Sin in different ways as well. So, now Waters has been killing it on Nightwing, and I think this issue is just another example of that. I really enjoyed this again. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, a lot of the story is Cannibal Colm like telling his story. So it's a lot of like listening to people talk, but there is obviously the panels of the highway being built over the suburbs, like you said, and like those sort of visuals that do stick with you. But it's not an action orientated issue by any stretch. But you know, I think it's
a
moody.
lot of the action is Nightwing. Yeah, Nightwing driving his car through Bloodhaven, being trailed by the cops, right? And all those Cowan draws, all of those. It's very, like you said, it's the mundanity of evil or of maliciousness. It's not a lot going on, which, you know, but that's what drives it forward. So, but yeah, I kind of liked Cannibal Colm as a character, right? Like he's just a sick little freak, and well, he gets blown away. I was like, oh man.
I hope you enjoyed your time with him because he's done.
Yeah. So like I'm like, well, I shouldn't like this guy. And he was almost like a character out of a Fincher movie, you know, like like almost out of like Zodiac or Seven or something along those lines. So, But yeah, no, Waters is so good. Every time I have a new Waters issue to read, I get very excited, and he always pays off. I can think of more times that I've been blown away than underwhelmed.
Sure.
So let's just keep that up.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point. But yeah, no, continually. I mean, if anything, the only thing against this issue is that some of the other issues have been so fantastic that this isn't the best of the bunch, and that's the worst thing I can say about it, honestly. It's been continually great. So, what are you giving Nightwing, Matt?
8.5.
I agree with that. I agree with 8.5. It's not the best issue of the arc or the run by any stretch, but it's a really solid edition that's kind of re-solidifying the lore of the highway stuff, which has been here for like 4 or 5 issues at this point. So good stuff. Batwoman issue 5, Greg Rucka writing with Dani on the art. So last issue brought the big reveal that this Batwoman who's been killing people is actually Alice, or Beth, whatever you want to call her. Kate's sister.
The evil twin, if you will.
I mean, it's not if you will. She is literally the evil twin.
Yes, I know. That's what I was playing with the turn of phrase.
Yeah. I mean, maybe evil. The mentally ill twins, maybe a more sensitive way of putting it.
Yes, yeah. This book. Every time I think I have stuff figured out, Rucka's like, "Haha, gotcha. Guess what? We're taking another turn here."
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the bad guys, the daughters of Lilith or whatever they're called, they're like prepping for the return, right? And it turns out they mean Alice. They're prepping for the return of Alice showing up. Well, Kate and Renee are like going around trying to find out where she is, blah blah. I will say, obviously, we've been a little bit mixed on Dani's art, which might be blasphemous to some people, but I think that first panel of Kate and Renee on the bike threw me, because the way that the question's face on Renee's drawn, I thought it was like a middle-aged guy who was on the back of the bike, and I actually thought to myself, oh, who's that with Kate? And obviously the next page, it was more obvious it was question, and I was like, oh, it's just Renee. All right, fair enough.
I went, how was the dad in 2 places at once? Because they have the same hairstyle in those thing, which Renee has like a kind of a, it's not quite like a bob, but it is a shorter cut here. And it's not the buzz cut of the dad, but the way that it's drawn on the page. Yeah. They look very similar, and I got very confused at first.
Yeah, well, I think she's got her hair tied back. I think she's got like a little bun or something like that to keep it neat.
Something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, you've got, Kate, they find basically a bunch of people that Alice already beat up. So they're like, hey, tell us where she went, which gives them a location. Meanwhile, Alice has got the gun. Which it's her, it's that, because obviously they're both dressed as Batwoman right now, so it'd be very easy to mix them up.
Right.
So Alice is getting with a gun to this location, and yeah, like the villains are there to greet her, and they're like, "Welcome home, Alice," and Alice calls her mother, and they're sort of like, basically caressing her and saying, "Oh, you're home, everything's going to be okay now, my sweet girl," all that kind of thing. Also, what have you done to your hair? So they're basically criticizing Kate's hairstyle because that's what she's mimicking. But they start reading out of the Alice Adventures book to her, and she like puts her head down on her lap. So Alice gets like a child here. She curls up into a ball. It's all regresses. All very vulnerable. Yeah. And then Kate and Renee show up, and they go in, and Renee fights this dude with like stone armor on. So okay, yeah, go be a badass. And Kate comes to find Alice, sees a bunch of these drawings on the wall of what looks like Alice killing Kate as children, and Alice stands in front of her, points a gun at Kate. We do get a great panel here, actually, just against a white background of like 2 Batwomen, one holding a gun up against the other. I mean, that is a cool panel, all things considered. And Kate pulls off her mask, which Alice then follows, does the same thing, so they're both looking at each other, and the way that Kate kind of de-escalates this situation and convinces Alice to go with them is that Alice basically gets frustrated and says, wait, if you're you, then who am I? And Kate puts the Batwoman mask onto Alice, or a mask anyway, not the full thing with the wig, and says, you're Batwoman. And basically convinces Alice that she's Batwoman, and that Batwoman would save her and not kill her, so thereby convincing her to leave the villains, and they go off. But it's very, it's on this like wire's edge of like, okay, you've convinced Alice of this to keep her calm right now and keep her docile, but you're kind of tricking her. So it does feel a little bit rocky, like, oh, at any point if she like turns and like decides that she's not Batwoman or she's not convinced of that, things could go rocky. Because the villains as well seem to be, I mean, the younger ones kind of like saying, oh, mother, you're letting her get away. But the mother's like, oh no, this is all going to plan. This is exactly what we want. This is actually like a blessing in disguise. So yeah, it feels like this is all still going towards doom. But it's interesting though, because Alice goes off riding the motorbike with Kate on the back of the bike, and it's like, okay, this was an interesting direction here. Now that we've got this scenario where Kate's like, no, I'll let her think she's Batwoman because then she'll do good instead of bad, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, and it's the way that she's just open for suggestion, because she puts the mask on her, tells her that she is Batwoman and that Batwoman doesn't kill, right? And goes, Batwoman saves her sister. And then it goes to that big wide shot and it goes, my sister's right. I don't kill, but I'll start if you don't get out of the way. So it just seems like she's just like a blank slate.
Yeah. Like putty. So she's very malleable.
Yeah. Like what caused that? Like what happened with the Alice persona that has now made her so open? Right. And yeah, it's very interesting. Like, cause getting out of the situation the way that they did, it's very anticlimactic, but in a good way,
Yeah, I think this idea of like she's not just a villain they're chasing down now they've actually got her. Like I can see there being like a really interesting like conversation next issue between the two of them. But it's like, but also it feels like she's kind of a ticking time bomb, Alice. Where how long until another personality kicks in or something changes her beliefs of who she is. Whatever it may be. It does feel like she's very vulnerable, but also very dangerous and sensitive. And like, how do we navigate that going forward? But I actually do not know where it's going to go. So Rucka's not telling a super conventional story here, if nothing else.
And the way that they bring in Question and keep calling Question, they keep calling her something specific that has to do with the Dark Faith. So that's interesting as well. So it almost feels like they're setting like cogs into motion here. Like they didn't need Beth to go with them, but they needed something along these lines because they don't seem to be that, at least the mother doesn't seem to be that plussed about it at all.
Yeah. The villains.
So just consider what has been lost and what has been gained, and it's them leaving. So it's like,
The villains keep calling Question the Faithless. I think is what you were meaning
the Faithless,
earlier.
Right. Yes.
So, it's like it's still not a complete knockout the park, just because maybe just the art's holding it back for me a little bit. I don't love the Dani art, and that's maybe the big thing.
Well, and Rucka is keeping the cards close to the vest on where it's going, too. So again, it's very issue by issue. For me right now of where it's going, just because it doesn't feel right now coherent, and that could all be solved in the next issue, right? Once Rucka decides to start revealing things, that makes us have epiphanies of, oh, that's why this happened, why this, but it's still a very mysterious and curious story.
I mean, I think a lot of it fell into place for me last issue. I think maybe my main issue right now is probably just that the villains themselves are a little bit uninteresting. I don't know if I really cared that much about this evil lady and like what her plans are yet, but we'll see if that shakes up a little bit as more of it's revealed and explored and so on. The actual Kate stuff and her trying to get her sister back is interesting right now. But I need to see where they're going with it before I'd like really know how I feel in the grand scheme of things. But not the knockout the park that I would expect from a Rucka book, sadly, but still doing enough interesting stuff that I'm definitely in for, seeing where it goes. So, what are you giving Batwoman, Matt?
Straight 7.
Yeah, I agree with the straight 7. Yeah, which feels low for a Rucka book, but it is what it is. So cool. Deathstroke, The Terminator, issue 5, Tony Fleecs writing with Carmine Giandomenico on the art. So you caught up in this because you wanted to read this. So take it away.
Yeah. Yep. So in the last issue that we didn't cover, essentially that boils down to Rose coming and saving Slade, and then they're on the run and they go into this diner and a guy is being kind of hostile and just like a gross misogynist to Rose. And Slade doesn't like that. So when he goes to wash his hands, he goes and kills the guy. And Rose is like, you can't do that. And he's like, why not? He disrespected you. I'm not going to stand by and let that happen. So issue 4 really dealt with the dynamics of Slade and Rose in this new, everyone hunting them and who is posing as Deathstroke, right? That's the main question. So this issue picks up with them still on the run, and Deathstroke is taking these, essentially dark web hits because his entire system that he helped set up is gone. And there's a lady that wants him to kill her husband, and because they have 4 daughters, he wanted a son. That's why they had so many kids, and just like he has not been treating her right, which then gives Slade flashbacks to his own family, right? With his now ex-wife, who I'm drawing a blank on her name. And why do you always have to go? Let me see. It is Adeline. Why do you always have to go? Because at this point, she doesn't know he's Deathstroke, the mercenary. It seems like he's like a defense contractor going to help people run security. Your kids need you. And she's talking about Grant and Joey. And he's like, oh no, I have to go work. Well, they need you more. And sort of Wintergreen gives him the costume. So, he's about to pull the trigger, and Deadshot, all these names, man, all of the Deathblow and Deadshot show up, and there's a bit of a standoff. He goes to run. The Justice League, it seems like they're on his case. And so, because it goes to the watchtower, and Diana pops in and starts talking to someone on a computer, and is like, "Hey, Ralph stumbled onto something. All hands briefing in the command center in 10 minutes. Spread the word." And we just see that someone's typing on the computer, and they're like, "Oh, who's Diana talking to?" And that leaves it at a mystery. But yeah, so Deathstroke takes the shot, or so we think, and we see the guy that he was, set up in the sniper's nest for has already been taken out, and he turns around, and it's the Deathstroke that's trying to replace him with Deadshot and Deathblow, and he goes, "Who are you?" And the other Deathstroke goes, "You look awful," and there's a fight, right? So they all start fighting. Deathstroke takes out the other two, looks at the fake Deathstroke, goes, "You killed Wintergreen," and the imposter Deathstroke goes, "Yeah, that's right." And they go and take off their helmet, and
who is
as Deathblow and Deathstroke, if you had to guess, who would be your guess just based off of what Slade's been going through here with his family?
One of his sons. Is it Grant? Is it Joseph? Whatever one it is.
No, it's Adeline. Adeline killed Wintergreen and is taking everything from Deathstroke because Deathstroke took everything from her. Right? And so this is where we're at now. Adeline is in the Deathstroke armor, killed Wintergreen, is taking his contracts, his entire network, and is now going to try to take Slade out. However, Rose is not really featured in this issue, right? And we all know that Adeline has a lot of resentment towards Rose, right? Because she's the out of wedlock child, right? After her kids die, he has some secret daughter, right? So yeah, I kind of had a feeling they were setting up Adeline with the amount of rumination Slade's been doing about their relationship. but it actually being her, it was kind of a shock. Her in the full armor. It's not like she's orchestrating things, and it was Grant or Joey, right? Like I kind of thought. But yeah, and that's that's not where the issue ends. I forgot. I read this early in the week. So you think that's where it's going to end, and they pull Rose out from the car, and that's where she goes, "This is going to hurt." And yeah, so a piece that I forgot also in issue 4 was Slade brings her to task because she's kind of seeing Jason Todd. Like she's talking about, oh yeah, well, Jason told me about this and Jason told me about that. And Deathstroke's like, I don't want you hanging out with that bat boy, that kind of stuff. I'm feeling that's who Diana was talking to on the Watchtower. That's the one that's helping set all this stuff up. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in as the hero in the next issue to help Rose. Cause that is the one thing that came out of Deceased. I feel that made it to mainstream was the Jason Todd, Ravager relationship that popped up in that. And what was that miniseries? The Unkillables.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's where they're going with this. But yeah, that I forgot that's where it ended. I kept going past the Adelaide reveal. I was like, oh yeah, there's more here. But yeah, it's not like still on a busy week, it might fall behind, but on like a week where I could catch up, I could be doing a lot worse when it comes to these books. It is an entertaining read. Giandomenico's art is top notch. Like all the action here, it's very reminiscent of when he was doing Flash, but instead of the Speed Force, it's not really bullet time, but you really getting in with the, the punches and the gunshots and the knives and all of this. So the art is all real fun to look at. And yeah, a fun reveal and Rose here at the end, not in suit, of course. She's in her civilian clothes. So, yeah, Deathstroke's been a lot of fun. And I'm going to give this particular issue a 7.5.
All right, cool. A lot of 7s and 7.5s this week, I'm noticing.
Yeah, pretty mid.
That kind of week.
Upper mid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good, just not great. Is kind of the overall vibe there. All right, Dark Knights of Steel 2, issue 1, Tom Taylor writing with Otto Schmidt on the art. So yeah, Otto Schmidt, not Putri, who was I think the main artist on the original book. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. I actually quite like Otto Schmidt. So I if anything, Otto Schmidt may even appeal to me a little bit more. So I'm not mad at that. So yeah, I mean the main story gets away after a bit. There's a little prologue section though where it talks about Falcone bringing his son Vincent. I don't remember a Vincent Falcone. Am I blanking on a name here?
No, I think that's made up for this book.
Yeah. Well, I suspect he's going to turn out to be someone else once he maybe picks a name or something like that. But right now it's Carmine Falcone who's the king, bringing his son Vincent to meet the elves. This is in the past when Superman and Batman were kids and Kara was a kid as well. Well, Zala technically here. I still think of her as Kara though whenever I think about her name in my head. And basically they bring us a gift, some dogs for the kids. So here's Crypto, here's Ace. Except Vincent's a little psychopath who stabs Ace the Bat Hound, which leads to a bit of an altercation. And Carmine's like, "What have you done, boy?"
It's Victor, not Vincent.
Oh, sorry,
but
Victor.
Yeah. Along well, close enough.
So the point being is that I don't remember a Victor either, right? There was,
No. But either way, you're still, sentiment's the same.
It's not Alberto Falcone, which is maybe what I would have thought they'd have put. But I guess we'll see where Taylor wants to take that as time goes on. But yeah, so that's like a little prologue. I really appreciated a nice recap page. It's it's a full page of text, but I read it because it's been a long time since that first book, and I really, as we were reading the prologue, I was like, okay, I think I remember what the relationship of Bruce to the others was, and what the backstory was. But this gave me all the basics again. It was like, hey, the elves were with Kal-El, Jor-El had an affair with Martha Wayne, which is why Bruce has got powers, and it recounted all this stuff, the Three Kingdoms, the Amazons, the the lightning. What was Piercy's
the Kingdom of Storms.
Storms. That's what it was.
Yes.
And then there's even
and then Waller.
Yeah, and then there's even a nice character page afterwards that shows you the main families and which one of them are already dead from the first book, which was also very helpful, just to remind us, okay, who's here in each clan and all the rest of it. And of course, it also reminded me, Supergirl and Wonder Woman were a couple, and that's a thing that we kind of focus on here as well, getting at the start of this story.
And it doesn't matter which universe. Bruce Wayne ain't got no parents. Like, whether it was Thomas or Martha or Jor-El or even, Alfred here, all of them are dark. So Tom Taylor still has a sense of humor.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, he's got 2 dads in this world, effective. Well, 3 if you count Alfred as one, I suppose. But and all of them are dead.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And also it points out that Amanda Waller's lying in wait. Like, she orchestrated the entire events of Dark Knights of Steel to turn them against each other, and now she's, it says, unbeknownst to the League, the aliens are working alongside Amanda Waller, so she's laying in wait, for whatever she has planned.
Yeah. I mean, it's unclear. I don't know if it was clear at the time if she was the mastermind or if she was like, it was an opportunity where she was working with the White Martians, but either way, she was left dangling as a big potential threat in the future. And I suspect she might be behind the main thing that happens by the end of this, which is that Supergirl gets sick and dies, seemingly, by the end of this issue. Amongst other things, obviously, but that's how it
after ends. She marries into the Amazons. Diana,
she becomes she becomes an Amazon, and that's why everyone's coming to Themyscira to it's like, oh hey, we're letting men step on the island because we're having this wedding, and there's a whole little joke where Constantine doesn't want to be the first guy to step on there, so Superman just kind of forces him to.
I love how it plays out. He goes, no, you go first. He goes, okay, and he steps, but Superman's hovering, and so Constantine ends up inadvertently, being the first man to step foot on the island, which I thought was very funny.
And they're playful with a couple of other things, like, Lois was with the Amazons from before, and she's like saying, there's a reason why we don't have boys here, they all smell, blah blah. And then I think it's Diana or Supergirl's like, hey, we have seen how you look at the L boy, and she's like, what? You've done nothing. And then of course the first time she's like standing next to him, they're kind of being a bit flirty, and it's like, okay, they're establishing some of the potential relationships here and whatnot. There's also a scene with Bibbo where he's refusing to serve Blockbuster, who's like causing a ruckus in his bar, and that's where Batman is. There is a reference to Bruce being in the Frozen Lands, which obviously he was in that spin-off mini back when. But yeah, we get like a little introduction of him fighting, and then Talia shows up and is like, hey, I've been looking for you, Bruce. So he's not with the rest of the characters yet, but they do give him a scene here with Talia to kind of set up where he is right now.
And he's brooding, as all good Batmans do.
Of course, yeah.
In the tavern. Yes.
He's finding himself, and Talia's here with a proposition. Raz doesn't know she's here. She's here of her own accord, so they're setting all that stuff up. But yeah, we get the wedding of sorts of Diana and Supergirl. And then a Kraken comes out of the ocean and causes all chaos. So there's some fighting of that. And then eventually Aquaman shows up. And of course, all the backups in that last mini were all about setting up Aquaman in this world. So he's like, hey, let me talk to it. I'll tell him to back down. And sure enough, the Kraken backs off. Peace is restored. But no, wait, Supergirl's floating in the water like she's dying. And they get her, and she kind of dies in Diana's arms, seemingly. The cool thing here, though, which I've kind of avoided mentioning so far, is that there's been a narrator every so often, sort of like basically talking about stuff and like, oh, this is going on and that's going on. And towards this here where Supergirl's like dying, we see kind of a panel of like whoever this is, like sort of like her eyes are glowing green, and like her dad comes in and says, what's going on? Like, and he calls her Barbara, and you realize, oh wait, Barbara Gordon in this world is literally an oracle. she's having visions of things, and that's how they... I
was so upset with myself not piecing it together, because Barbara typically has the green boxes, right, for the dialogue, and I'm just thinking,
well, only with the Oracle, and not a regular dialogue or narration boxes. Yeah,
the narration boxes is what I should have said. And I wasn't even thinking that until we get to the end, and it's the eyes and says, no, the Leviathan did not hit her, and I was like, the green. Well, we already did the Green Lantern stuff, so it's not a lantern. Wait, and then you turn the page, and it's this redhead shooting out of bed with glowing eyes.
What was that? The Leviathan did not hit her? He did not. It is bullshit. He did not.
It is. He did not.
It was just the way you said it, Matt. I could not hear Tommy Wiseau in my head.
I'm sorry. And then she goes, "Oh, hi, Dad."
Yeah, she just wakes up from her nightmare vision and says, "Oh, hi, Dad."
Yeah.
But
the way she shoots up out of the bed, it is all very like, oh, this is a different incarnation. I like that. That's cool.
Well, there's a nice touch because that first panel of her waking up yelling Zala's name, which is Kara. His name in this world, which I'm just saying to remind myself as much as the audience, is that it almost looks like she's rising up out of the water. I don't think she actually is. It's just her bed sheets, but because it's kind of blue and the background's all blue, it looks like she's just on the ocean. And then you realize, oh no, that's just her bed. And like, you know, Jim comes in with the lantern and is like, "What is it, my daughter Barbara? What is it?" And you know, her narration says, you know, "I'm not just a prophet, I am an oracle." And you see her big green face glowing in the sky above all the main characters as they're looking down at Supergirl bleeding from the nose. She may not be dead for sure. It's hard to say really, but it looks like a death here in the last page.
It does, but the way that she goes, you know, she goes, "You look so scared. I'm fine. Stop worrying about me." And then the way that she coughs, you're like, "Oh, she's a goner." Yeah. Like, people don't cough like that and survive.
Yeah, they all look shocked, which is why it looks like a death. I mean, maybe this is going to be, oh, she's on her deathbed and it's going to be about saving her. That could be possible for sure. But I mean, this was an interesting hook. I think the Oracle reveal was really well done, and it was exciting to see that. Seeing Batman again was fun as well. The opening with the Falcone thing, I mean, obviously we'll have to see where that's going. You assume that's going to tie into the villain plot, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So maybe Falcone and Amanda Waller are maybe either working together, or maybe they're two separate entities that will clash somewhere in the middle. Who knows? But we'll need to see where that goes specifically. But this wasn't bad. This was a solid first chapter to the second story of this fantasy world. Now, I did say when the All Winter book was coming out that I liked that more than the main book. I still feel that way, I think, but we're only in one issue of this so far, so this could get into really exciting places story-wise as it goes on.
Yeah, and I feel this is where Taylor, when he does these things, it happened with Deceased as well, that we enjoyed the Unkillables way more than either of the two Deceased books, right? And I feel like when he reins into scope. Well, when I say two, I'm talking about the Deceased 1, Deceased 2, right? The two parts that way.
Yeah, but there was three.
There three?
There was three, yeah.
Oh my God. In my head, it's only Deceased, Unkillables, and Deceased 2, The Dead Planet.
Yeah, and then... Yeah, I remember what it was called. Was it Deceased War of the Gods or something like that? I don't know, but it was like... There was a whole third one.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
And I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. But anyways, the point still stands. I feel like when Taylor reins in his scope and, you know, like, because he did only the backups in All Winter.
Yeah, right? He did Aquaman stuff,
That all really, really hit. And like, this is fine, but it feels so sprawling with all the different characters popping up and all that. I feel like it takes a hit a little bit.
I will say that I think that the benefit this has versus the first Dark Knights of Steel is that because we've established all the characters and all these different factions that are now kind of coming together, and they're kind of all, you know, they've formed a league that they even say at one point. I think because that history is established now, I think it's more interesting to see how they play off of each other, as opposed to the first one, which was effectively 12 issues of here's how this new character shows up that you know from DC. And I know it obviously does that with Oracle here at the end, and I'm sure there'll be more of it sprinkled throughout. But there's a lot more established characters here this time that we already know the history of, that can grow, or like we know their opinions of each other, and we can see how that evolves. this felt nice having them all show up for a wedding, which is like a normal happy thing, as opposed to, there's conflict and we're all having to come chasing each other. Like, I like that they're not all at each other's throats, like thinking they're all going to betray each other. I like that it's going to be something different, and yeah, maybe something caused the Kraken to show up that'll tie into what the villains are doing, or maybe that's just a happenstance that's going on, and the real thing's what's happened to Kara or Zala is what we're really going to be going into. So
the way that Aquaman had said, it said that something attacked her and she just focused on the land, so something prodded her. That's what it feels like. So, yeah. And I like bringing Arthur in that way, right? He comes in and does it's almost like Superman appearing in Metropolis, right? When they need him, and it's the first time everybody sees him. There's that same sense of awe when they see Aquaman.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess my critique here with the Aquaman thing is that it does just feel a little bit quick and easy. That, obviously it makes sense he'd show up when a water-based thing is showing up, but it feels like it is just so quick and Aquaman's just here now. Like, I thought there might be more of a, from all the build-up of that backup in the last book, I thought maybe there'd be, I don't know, a bit more of a ceremony to him eventually showing up. But whereas here it's literally he pops up immediately in issue 1, and it's like, hey, I'm Aquaman, you don't know me, but I can talk to the big fish thing. I'll get rid of it.
Yeah. I don't know me, but I know you. All right, so you're welcome.
So yeah, a little bit in the easy side, I guess, in that front. But I mean, I had fun reading this. It was nice kind of catching up with this established world again, if nothing else. Even if it's not my favorite type of Elseworld, because it's a fantasy, and I'm not a big fantasy guy, to be fair. But hey, it is. And Schmidt's art is solid. Things look good.
Oh yeah. No, it all looks good. It's in that Schmidt style that it feels familiar. Did we get Dick Grayson in the last one? I know we have the Robins, because the Robins were the eyes and ears.
His secret soldiers, they were the Robins. I don't remember if we got a Dick Grayson. I don't actually remember. So I'm going to say maybe not, but at the same time, it's actually been 2 years at least since that book.
Yeah, I can't remember, but the fact that we're bringing in Barbara, and it feels like, Grayson hasn't been introduced, I feel like pretty soon.
It's been 2 years since that book ended, and even then, there was a lot of delays for the last couple of issues. So it had been 8 months since the second last issue and the last issue. So, remembering a lot of the fine details is actually a bit of a struggle at this point. But the broad strokes, that's why I appreciated that recap page to set the larger table, because I wouldn't necessarily if that was at the start of every issue, I wouldn't read it every time, but here for this first one after this big gap, absolutely I read that thing, because I did not remember things all too well. So good. It's I think Schmidt's art's good, but obviously it's matching the very kind of light, bright kind of color scheme that the last book had, which is not necessarily what I associate Schmidt with. I kind of associate Schmidt with more darker nighttime stuff, a bit more moody kind of thing, and this is not quite that. I'm sure we might get scenes like that later on, but this was a lot more kind of happy-go-lucky in the broad daylight, because up until the ending, everything's kind of good vibes for the most part. So curious to see if more of that,
except for the dog getting stabbed.
Well, the prologue's a bit separate, obviously, but that's obviously pretty dark. And to be fair, little Victor did look, I mean, are they saying that, is this Victor Zsasz maybe? Are they saying that Victor Zsasz is the son of Falcone?
Is that Falcone? Maybe.
Because that's the only Victor I can think. Well, either that or Victor Freeze, I suppose, but it's definitely not Mr. Freeze.
No. There's nothing to tie that. I think.
I mean, Zsasz is a killer. Yeah, he likes stabbing people, so this does track a little bit.
Yeah, outside of Victor Freeze and Victor Zsasz, I can't think of any other Victors.
Yeah.
In DC Comics, so.
Yeah. Because I was thinking Vincent before, and I couldn't think of a Vincent, but now I can't think of a Victor.
No.
So that's some. Anyway, what are you giving Darkness of Steel 2?
Straight 8.
think I agree with that. I had a good enough time. I think I agree with that. I had to think about it for a second, but it was kind of nice returning to this world, even though it's not my favorite Elseworld setting of all. But it's so established at this point. It was actually kind of nice to see some of these characters now and how they've moved on and grown. So that's cool. All right. Every month on Patreon, you can make me read a book of your choosing in one of the higher tiers. Now, this next one is one that also Matt gets forced to read, and that is Green Arrow. We're doing issue 29 of the run that ended about a year ago, or maybe a bit less than that. So we're going to dive into it, and obviously the Crimson Archer's been the main focus here, by and large. And it basically boils down to two things. It's Oliver investigating this chemical or the pharmaceutical company's building and looking for clues as to who the Crimson Archer is, and he ultimately finds who it is, actually. And if I was to make a critique here, is that obviously all of the atmosphere and art of him doing this searching, he's walking around, he's cutting through the glass, he's got the torch, and it's all very moody. All that stuff looks fantastic. I will say, I don't know if I'm that excited by, this is someone he was in the military with, who he taught to shoot a bow and arrow. That like the reveal of who the person was just kind of felt like this could literally have been anyone. It didn't mean anything to me that there was this guy, which isn't the end of the world, but it is just maybe the one thing that I'd put on this issue and this story arc is that I don't really care about who this is.
Yeah, no, him being someone that Oliver knew does not change the fact that how dastardly whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how this is personal. Like, outside of him trying to essentially poison Star City, it doesn't matter of him knowing Oliver beforehand. So it's a weird tweak to go. That said, I did appreciate the art of them doing the Predator hand clasp there at the top of that page when they do the flashback, because it feels very Predator. They're in the jungles, so
Joe's so weird. It looks like a Vietnam flashback, but obviously it's not Vietnam because the timeline is nowhere near correct for that.
No, but they are in Cambodia, which is next to Vietnam, which is weird. So it's just like, yeah, it's definitely odd. But yeah, no, all the other stuff, all of him doing the investigation and going through, it's definitely taking advantage of the art by Montos here. Playing with the shadows and the light and then the green and the purple. And anytime that we can get the green and the purple coloring here, I'm a fan of.
When he finds the lair and he opens the doors open, it's all this pink lighting and stuff. Well, basically the crimson kind of color to an extent, with all these arrows and bows on the wall and all the rest of it. Like, yeah, and there's all these vials of the drug that he's been putting on his syringes for his murder victims. So Oliver smashes a bunch of those, breaks out the window and all that. The other side of this issue is Roy and Shoes bringing the victim, the addict, to the clinic and making sure she gets checked in okay. And this is your more feel-good story of the side of this issue, where they're very kind to her and they talk to the staff and say can make sure she gets good care and all that. And yeah, it feels like a father-daughter bonding where they're like, hey, it feels good to be heroes sometimes. We get to do something that isn't just punching people. So they're like, hey, yeah, let's go and see who we can help next. So it's a very simple series of 5 or 6 pages, but it's just a nice, pleasant time. And the art's good as well, of course.
I love that Roy goes, yeah, but don't tell your mom. She loves that punching stuff. She'd think I'm making you soft. I did love that. It was a real fun line. Yeah.
I mean, also, your mom's kind of like more of a, I wouldn't quite say outright villain, but definitely in the more anti-hero side of things.
She is a straight up assassin. She kills people for monies. She was in Deathstroke's group meeting of the mercenary stuff. So, yeah,
it's like, look, it's not the most problematic parent that any of these younger heroes have, but it's definitely not, a clear-cut one. It's not like her mum's, Superman or for any stretch.
Right. That'd be weird.
It'd be very weird for very many reasons. So yeah, but like I say, all Oliver sneaking around in these like offices and like apartments late at night's good because he basically takes the key that he finds into the building here at the end, and he goes up the secret elevator and he finds basically like a illegal like drug den where Crimson Archer's got a bunch of people forced to make the drug that he's using. And it's just like, it's really sad, and they all look like they're depressed and stuff, and Oliver's like, hey, like, wake up, guys, I'll get you out of here, I'll help you. And that's when Crimson Archer shows up and, starts, I wouldn't say monologuing per se, but is like, because Oliver's not even entirely sure who it is yet. He's like, how did you know Varney? And he's like, I am Varney. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Well, that clears that up then, I guess. So... yeah, and then the cliffhanger is basically just, welcome back to the jungle, Queen, it's been waiting for you. And I'm like, I don't really think I'm that attached to his time in the jungle and the military, to be honest, for that to be a big cliffhanger.
No. But the reason that Ollie says that it can't be Rainey is because I shot Rainey in the heart. So something happened in the jungles that led to Oliver turning the arrow on him.
I do wonder if we get a more proper flashback issue next time, maybe that'll actually make all that work a lot better, right? Yeah. Because right now, I don't care that it's this guy. That's the fact that it's Rainey's kind of whatever to me right now.
And the reason that he goes, the wonders of plastic surgery, and all this stuff. And, but yeah.
Can I just say,
oh man, this is...
I was going to say, in a comic book, a movie, a TV show, whatever, if you have a character say the sentence, the wonders of plastic surgery, it's hokey. It's always hokey because you're hand waving why no one recognizes them, and it sounds like a soap opera line of dialogue. And it doesn't matter how good or how serious the rest of the story is, that line is going to be hokey.
Nope. And it sucks because the art that Montos draws there, he looks proper sinister. And just a simple line of like, I knew you wouldn't recognize me. Time hasn't been fair to you. Something along those lines. It would match that face so much worse.
For sure.
Or so much more. Because he has an air to him and stuff. But also the complete outfit of, it seems like they're smuggling those plants in that they make the drug from. Because they're smashing those open. They're taking the plant, they're processing it. It's like this big, huge Breaking Bad, facility, like when you get to the later seasons. It's like an actual industrial lab they're making drugs in, instead of a Winnebago kitchen. So a lot of fun twists and turns there. But yeah, it being this dude that we weren't even introduced to until now, till this very issue. There was a bit of weak sauce, but the rest of it's real good.
At least not that I remember anyway. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the arc has been very, very enjoyable. The Clearwater stuff was probably better overall, I think, now that we're this deep into the second arc. But there's still a lot to like here, and they are still gorgeous, and there's a lot of stuff with Roy and Shoes that I think is very pleasant.
Yeah. The way this guy decided to bring down Star City was through a drug epidemic. I really like that, right? It's not like he's flooding the money or whatever and making criminals of everybody in a way that you probably see in Gotham. He's attacking it on a chemical level.
Yeah.
Which I do like, because it gets to the crux of the problem, because the fact that people are turning to drugs is a problem, even though he's spiking them himself, right? And killing more people than he's making addicts. But yeah. And then that final page too, the way that he's standing there with like all the plants, like that crimson, it's kind of like the plants, but it looks kind of like a fire. It makes him seem like a proper bad guy, So yeah, and I appreciate all this. There, just as you said, it gets a little hokey.
Yeah, it's still a bit hokey, and just maybe the next issue will make me care more about who this guy actually is. Like, it very well might.
Yeah.
Because Condon's obviously done a great job with the writing in this, and I'm not like, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes me eat my words. But it does mean that this, it won't change the fact that when they do the reveal here, that I'm like, shrug, I don't care. I don't care that this is this guy.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest ding that we've had on this run at all, to be honest, because it's been so good. So, hey, but not bad issue by any stretch, other than that one notable thing to bring up. What are you giving Green Arrow 29?
So even all the stuff that we talked about, this is still like an 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll probably go with a flat 8. So, but I don't think it's by no means less than great because of it. I think it sticks out because it's the biggest critique I've had out of anything since the start of this run, and because of that, it feels important to mention and talk about, and therefore probably it sounds more negative overall for this issue. in comparison, but it's just kind of, whatever. So, hey, there you go. That is Green Arrow issue 29. And then the other Patreon book I've got to talk about this week to wrap it up, I know we're technically, by the time this comes out, it'll be August, but this is the last July episode, is The Last God, issue 4, which, I thought, like, based on the way I talked about it for the first couple of issues, maybe Tyler, who makes me read this, would go, oh, I won't make him keep reading this. Not because he wouldn't like torture me per se, if it indeed is torture, more just because I'm not very good at remembering details of this book. And every like at the start of every single issue, it's the same thing where I'm like, okay, who are these characters? What are they doing? What is going on? I don't remember any of these names. What's happening? Like, I really struggle with fantasy when it comes to that sort of stuff. But once again, it's the same thing, structure-wise, where we've got the two timelines. We have 30 years ago when King Tyr and his wife and honestly, there is a name for them that I'll probably see eventually that they kept bringing up. But in my head, I just kept thinking Vulcan. Why I think Vulcan and not Elf, because obviously that's more fantasy related, but I don't know, I'm just a nerd for sci-fi, I guess.
Because you like Star Trek, that's why.
I guess.
You're more Spock than you are Legolas. That's just what it is.
Oh, Spock is way cooler than Legolas. Are you kidding me? It's not even a competition.
I've never seen Spock shoot a bunch of orcs with arrows, okay?
He doesn't need to. He literally has a pinch of the neck and then the person just goes down. It's easy. Work smart, not hard.
Nah. I don't even like Lord of the Rings. I don't like this because this has me defending Lord of the Rings. That's not who I am.
Like, Leonard Nimoy has always had more gravitas than Orlando Bloom ever will.
Absolutely. But still, I think Legolas is a much cooler character to me.
What?
That's all.
There's nothing cool about Legolas.
I'm more of a Kirk guy than a Spock guy. It should not surprise you.
Yeah, Kirk's better than Legolas too.
Duh.
So is Chekhov, so is Scotty, so is McCoy, definitely.
I mean, to be real, I'm probably much more of a Bones McCoy guy than any of them, just
that's
because
fair. I get
he gets aggravated easily, and that's how I feel, so. Damn
it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not an elf. Yeah, absolutely.
See, there we go. And this is the problem making Pete read fantasy, is we're going to end up having a diatribe to Star Trek at a certain point. So, here we go.
Joe's perfect is Tyler hates Star Trek. That's the perfect thing about this conversation, is that it turned into a Star Trek talk, and he hates Star Trek. Oh, this is beautiful. I couldn't have planned this better if I tried.
This is hilarious. Well, this has just got you an extra issue.
I know.
So there you go.
I'm definitely reading all 12 of these damn things now. There's no way I'm getting out of this.
He just said the Breakfast Club. You want another? Keep going. You want one more? We can do one more. Oh man! All right. So they're not Vulcans. That's what we'll call them. Not Vulcans.
Vulcans. It's the Ariels. I'll come up when I'm looking at it at some point. So yeah, you got the 30 years ago, the original group and how they formed before they went to the Black Stair, and they come across the leftovers of this fight that happened, and they end up being the same place that all the characters in present day are in as well, to be fair. But there's this magical results of this war that's happening, and they find this caged woman inside a cage. Well, that's where a caged person would be, but she's with
absolutely
basically this severed head who's talking, and the severed head starts saying, giving advice and hey, you're, I can lead you to wherever and whatnot. In present day, we had the big cliffhanger where the big monster showed up, and Evander, the former slave, gets thrown off, and the not Vulcan jumps off the bridge to try and get him, and turns out has this magic green dagger thing that ends up kind of badly resetting the monster and sort of sending it packing. She makes it clear later that it's not killed, it'll reform, but it is this big blast that kind of takes it out for now. And they go basically running into the building they're by, because the door's open and out walks what I'll just call a wizard and a bunch of knights. because this is the Guild Eldritch, and they're welcomed into the big castle, which is the Pinnacle. And the Pinnacle is also where the characters in the past seem to be as well, because they mention it too. And we go back there, and yeah, they're kind of going around. They're finding a bunch of weird formations of books and creatures that are going around. The creatures are reacting, and the severed head's eyes are lighting up and saying, this door leads to a place that requires an offering. Was it? Yeah, it needs elven. Yeah, technically, I mean, I guess it is just kind of the word elf, but it's like Aelvan, which is kind of, now I'm saying it out loud, it does kind of sound like elven, which is what you would say for the elf race. So I guess is this like saying vampire with a Y? It's like doing like old language,
vampire,
version of it. Is that what we're doing here?
That's how I always read it. When I see it with a Y, it's vampire, not vampire.
All right, so yeah, I'll just call her an elf. Right, fine. You've worn me down. But yeah, so and in present day, they're talking to and basically like what's his name? Evan Dar's like, you saved me, I saved you, like, even though you were going to walk off and you were not happy with each other right now, it's like, hey, you are a hero, like, and why didn't you use that magic dagger at when the monsters appeared back in issue 1? Why didn't you like use it back then? And it's like, it was only a twining spell, no one living can destroy them. It's probably already reformed and try to break in from the outside. So anyway, like it goes into some of this stuff, and they're talking about kind of where they stand right now, and like, Evandor's kind of in a weird place because he worshipped Tyr, the king, but he's kind of learning that how not that great like the queen is, and how the Black Stair story is a bit of a myth and all the rest of it. But they want to go back there. They're talking to these characters about going back. There's another elf here actually who shows up, who our main elf actually slaps at one point, because he basically doesn't want to go on the mission or anything like that. He says, in fact, is this our son? I guess it is. Okay, see, that's the problem. I don't remember anything when I read this shit.
So, and I can't even pull. I've tried to pull up the wiki for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and there's nothing on the wiki.
That's fine.
So I can't even follow along. So
that's okay.
I am useless here.
Yeah. Basically the son says, the elf son says, "Mother, there are no others. The dead were faster than our horses. Few ferrymen who survived I sent to Chaklata to warn the nations. I came here to warn you." Basically, they retreated, and she's kind of like, so, you were charged to protect our people and you didn't. So she gives him a slap, and all the rest of it. But then this old woman walks out with a cloak and a staff, and the big twist here is that this is actually the old version of the woman who was in the cage in the past. And the reveal in the past, right after this, is that she's actually the one controlling the severed head. The severed head's not actually alive. He's not this grand master of the Pinnacle. She's controlling it and talking through him. And the elf kind of figures that out and breaks off the bracelet that she's got that's controlling it. And then she's like, "What are you doing?" No. Like, that bracelet was keeping it in check because the severed head was actually infected with the flowering dead. So as soon as the bracelet smashed, all these tentacles start coming out of the head. So now they've got a new thing to fight. But yeah, this woman was the one with the power, and like helps fight off the tentacle thing. She says her name is Skull. She's been here for months learning about stuff. And they're like, "Why did you lie to us? Like, why did you even pretend to just be this like powerless person?" She's like, "You're not the first ones to come through here looking for the old wise man. You would have listened to would you have listened to a little girl who needed your blood?" And they basically say, "Okay, what's really behind the door?" And she's like, "Oh, it's a weapon that can kill the flowering dead. Grandmaster Becker told me." So she's saying there's a weapon here that can kill the big bad things, and maybe this is what they originally take to the Black Stair with them, because we're building up to that in the backstory. I do not know, but she says it's not a weapon though; it's a book, the first book. So we're getting into some deep lore here, and whatnot. But
don't tell that to an American. because that's what they'll start talking about their guns. It's not a weapon, it's a book.
Oh, jeez. So yeah, in present day, the old lady's skull, and the rest of them are all like, "Wait, why are you so old looking? We're not that old looking in comparison. I know it's been 30 years, but you look like you're 90 or something like that." And she's like, you know, the what was the line here? Firm tits and smooth skin are only a burden in this place, which was vaguely amusing. But yeah, so yeah, she basically says, "Hey, I can't go with you physically. There's no way I can go up the black stairs in this condition." And basically, like effectively, I don't know, like a vessel, like basically a young woman who looks like she did when she was young shows up, who she's going to talk through, and she says, "I call it Schiff." And it's basically just like a puppet that she can control from a distance that looks like a human. Because at first she's like, "Wait, she looks like you. Is this your daughter, Skull?" And she's like, "No, it's not. It's not even a person. It's barely even an object. It's just a powerful vessel for me to like talk through, or that I've programmed to come with you." But yeah, I mean, the issue basically ends here with her saying, "It is powerful. Climbing the black stair will be difficult in my current state, but make no mistake, the old monster will not survive us again." And yeah, so she's got like a meat puppet she's going to talk through that looks like she did when she was younger. So it's setting up this Skull character as the kind of the main thing from this issue, in the present day and in the past. To be fair, it all links together because this one character kind of links both stories at this point. So it feels like the whole thing here is we're going to keep having both timelines go towards the Black Stair. And we'll see how the original attempt went, where the story is that they won, but maybe something else actually happened. And in present day, we're going to see how they may actually win. And maybe even Skull's determined, hey, this time we're going to kill this damn thing. Because maybe the first time they accepted a compromise of some sort, and that's why it's back. So, yeah, I mean, look, every time I start an issue of this, I am like, God damn. Like, I vaguely remember, yes, there's the king and the queen, the king's dead, and the queen is working with this guy who was a slave, and the elf. And in the backstory, it's the king and queen meeting for the first time with the elf, going on this journey. So, like, I remember the broad strokes of what we're doing, but once you start asking me to be like, okay, what is this race, and who do they represent, where are they from, what is this power they're seeking, I don't know. What I do know is that every time there's a monster, Federici is absolutely killing it and like giving me insane visuals with spectacle. All that stuff at the start of this one was very good. The head with the tentacles growing out of it looked devilish and monstrous, and that was cool too. So yeah, I can't fault it. Like, I mean, ultimately, the only thing I don't really like about it is that the world is just, you know, it's not really taking time to set up a lot of this stuff, so a lot of these names and stuff been thrown around for places and people and like rules that they have and whatnot. It does that thing that a lot of fantasy does for me, where it's going through it so quickly. I'm like, okay, this is like you've sat down and written like a bible of what your world has in it, but you've not actually given it to me piece by piece so that I can understand it in a way that's satisfying. And for nerds who love fantasy, they love learning all this stuff. For me, I'm like, you know, I don't remember any of it. So you gotta like give me something to work with here. But yeah, it's not a bad issue. The art's gorgeous, and the two plot threads do complement each other through that one character who's revealed to be the same in both. So there you go. There's your issue.
So he did the same thing in that House of L book, where he clearly has a bible of characters that he wants to introduce.
Yeah,
but he doesn't do that over time, you know.
No, yeah, it's that kind of thing. The art is gorgeous. Like, I can't really, obviously, you know what it is, it's Federici, but I can't express it enough. All the horrific monsters that he gets to draw in this is great, and when it leans into the horror, I'm into it, but it also wants to be the fantasy group of characters on a quest, on a journey to get to the magic location where they can fight God, basically. It's like that side of it's just not like it can work for me if it's written a certain way, but it needs to really like go above and beyond for me. It being just a fantasy story is not enough to appeal to me, and that's just my taste more than anything. But anyway, yeah, that's the last guy. I mean, rating's tough. I don't know what I'd give it, because it's personal taste more than anything else is getting in the way of me not thinking it's great. So, like, I guess the diplomatic score is to say it's good and give it a 7. but obviously my own taste is stopping it from going any higher than that. So, Last God, issue 4. There you go. Yeah. Star Trek's better. So that'll take us out of the final part of the show where we pick our favorite stuff of the week. Favorite panel / moment, favorite cover, favorite art, and of course top 5 books. So starting off with panel / moment of the week, Matt, what do you have?
All right, so I've narrowed it down to 3 as you were talking about The Last God. And the first one that's up in there is Nightwing. Him showing up to Cannibal Colm's place and looking for him, and he sneaks up. Cannibal Colm sneaks up on Nightwing, and he's got like a knife behind him. It's so creepy. And it's done in this shade of red that Cowan usually doesn't work with, right? Cowan's usually heavy on the dark and the shadows, but this has like this red rush out. That's up there. In Absolute Flash doing that punch down to the rogues, right? That looks really cool. And like you said, it has that distortion effect in there. Let me see, the shock on his face afterwards. Those are heavy. But the more I think about the final page of Absolute Green Arrow, the more I like it. And not just because I love Solomon Grundy, right? I like a big monster, but just the way that Albuquerque draws the horror element so well. And like, there's all the eyes on Grundy, but he's still in shadow, and just like the shock and horror on Canary's face, it takes up that whole page, and it looks like something out of an old horror comic. And I really love that. So that's mine. Yeah.
It's probably going to be Nightwing for me when basically we're getting the main part of like the original Psycho Pirate looking out over the highway, and like just hearing like how they've ruined the city intentionally with it. Like I just think it's such a cool concept that I was really into that. I'll give a shout out though to Detective Comics Annual, one for basically most of the Professor Pig reveal and the backup, but also for the main story. There's a part I didn't mention when I was talking about it during the review, where Batman's describing like what this president was trying to do. It was basically, he tried to make the planet hate Earth, right, by blaming a murder on Batman, right, because the president is a weak president who knew that he wouldn't get reelected next time. So he does what weak presidents always do, is they pick technology, like, an opponent who they paint as a villain who is weaker from a technological point of view, so they can be bullied and turned into an enemy to basically give all of these people a common threat. And he's a coward, and he's a weak leader, blah, blah. And it's basically just like a page of talking, like just describing Trump. It's on the nose, which is why I'm not going to pick it, but it really felt like Taylor was getting a lot off his chest for like a couple of panels, just basically describing how shitty he is as a person. So that was, what it was. But no, I'm going with Nightwing. I'm going with the whole kind of, it's tough, definitely to pinpoint exactly what page it is, but just generally that section of here's what the city's what's happened because of this road and how it's been meticulous and how it's been crafted to ruin everyone's lives. So cool stuff. All right, for cover of the week, I've basically just got 2 main covers that I want to shout out and pick one. The Absolute Green Arrow cover, which is just that Green Arrow killer's face inside like a dollar bill, but it's super horrific, or not horrific, but like, it's a horror movie looking cover with a lot of shadows and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Nightwing's main cover, which is just Nightwing's fist sort of in the foreground, like an old western, as he's looking at the dive bar that he's going to question people. It's just really nicely detailed and atmospheric. I really like it.
Yeah.
So I think that one's probably my pick of the pair. But those are the ones for me. None of the variants that I looked at were really sticking out to me this week, but tastes vary and all that. What were you picking?
Yeah. So there's an Absolute Green Arrow variant that I like that's from Gerald Perel, and it's got the longbow killer in like superhero pose with like a bunch of bodies behind him, like he's just cut through them with his swords. Super, super cool. It's bathed in shadow. Real nice. There's this Wonder Woman cover by Miguel Mercado. It's got Diana like up against the sky, like she's in a pose with her lasso. It almost looks like she's dropping down. It looks, the way that it's playing with the light, it looks like it's at sunset. I just like the pose that she's in there, which is real nice. And then Dark Knights of Steel has a variant by also Perel. Weird, didn't even do that on purpose. But it's got the Diana and Zala and a Pegasus, and it essentially looks like it should be painted on the back of a van. It looks like it's from like Conan the Barbarian or something, and it's just really cool. But Pete already mentioned mine. It is the Nightwing main cover. It's just it's a great image. He says it's got that old Western, the fist, in shot with the dive bar door there, and it's super cool.
Yeah, there's also the swimsuit variant if you want Beefcake Nightwing in these trunks. There you go. Just for those who care about such a thing, so there's an option. All right, what's your art of the week?
Without much hesitation, it's Dennis Cowan for Nightwing. Like just the way that it plays with the shadows, and then the stark art when the original Psycho Pirate's talking about all the stuff that's been going on, and Cannibal Colm is seeing all of this, the highway over the suburbs and all that is equally balanced with all of the weird, creepy stuff with Cannibal Colm and all of the kind of almost anti-action of the car chase, right? Everything's kind of still and meandering, so it all just works perfectly. So that's mine.
Yeah, Cowan's a good choice for this. I mean, there's a lot of good art this week. Like Nicola Scott's obviously very good on Detective, but not necessarily stand out as she sometimes is. Haining solid in Absolute Flash. Lucas Meyer solid on Superman Unlimited, although with that caveat of that final page being a little confusing. Schmidt's good on Darkness of Steel 2. I'm probably going with Cowan, although Albuquerque makes a case for himself with Absolute Green Arrow, I think.
It was close.
Yeah,
it was close.
Makes a case.
I felt the tone with Nightwing. I felt the art really helped drive the story more than Albuquerque's did for Green Arrow.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, top 5 books. Off you go.
All right, 1 is Nightwing. 2 is Absolute Flash. 3 is Dark Knights of Steel. 4 is Deathstroke, and 5 is Absolute Green Arrow.
Yeah, it's going to be quite similar, I think. My number 1 is Nightwing. Number 2, I'll inch it to Dark Knights of Steel for number 2, and then put Absolute Flash at number 3. 4, Detective Comics Annual, number 4. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And then number 5, I will go Absolute Green Arrow, number 5. Yeah. So there you go. That's the top 5s, and I can now tell you what's coming next week from DC Comics as we finally get back onto, just the new books for the week as opposed to this, 2 weeks later business. Yep. So next week we got Batman issue 12, Absolute Superman 22, Absolute Green Lantern 17, Batgirl 22, The Dead Man issue 3, GSA 22, Supergirl Survive issue 3, Superman the Book of L issue 11, DC Sonic the Hedgehog Metal issue 4, Gotham Academy First Year issue 6, and then 100 Bullets US of Anger issue 2 is out next week, and some facsimiles and reprints. So it's a lighter week overall for me because I've dropped a couple of books from week 1. You have more.
I mean, I just have Book of L and Dead Man.
Yeah,
that you don't read the rest of them, so we're good. I am very thankful it's a lighter week because the last couple have been I've been bending under the weight. So
it's been a beefier couple of weeks for sure. But yeah, and we'll also probably be doing the next Peter David Supergirl next week as well. Just shouting that one out.
Great.
Yeah. So look forward to that. But you can of course support the show over at Patreon, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. Thanks to everyone who already does, but you do get access to those classic extra reviews we've been doing. We started Gotham Central just recently, an Alan Moore Swamp Thing, so those are the 2 running right now. We already did Batgirl Year 1 if you want to check out that. All 9 issues of that were reviewed over there. But you get the show a little bit earlier whenever it's ready, basically in late Saturday night or early Sunday depending on your time zone. But that is that. So thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, and remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.